Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Rush stream here on Dyer's Place. With me, as always, is Mike.
Hey ho, yo yo.
And joining us tonight is Jay, who you might remember most recently from the 80s cartoon streams.
Yeah.
There you are. Okay. So, we are here tonight to talk about, as I like to put it, the greatest band in the history of forever.
And a Canadian too. Haha. Anyway.
Yep.
And we have an actual Canadian on our stream, so like bonus legitimacy points.
Yeah, I often wondered how Canadians felt about Rush, to tell you the truth.
Well, who's this Rush playing the band you're talking about? I'm kidding.
Yeah.
We love it.
Excellent.
Well, at least I do.
Well, you guys also gave us Bryan Adams. I know the Canadian government has apologized for that on several occasions.
Anyway.
You guys can keep him. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, it's like Snarb's here.
And hey, Snarbu, what up?
Yep. So, put simply, we're just going to spend the next couple hours talking about Rush. So if you don't like Rush, you may not want to be here. I usually don't discourage people from coming in, but honestly, if you don't like Rush, this is not the stream for you to be on.
Yeah, and I do know that they do have some anti-fans. Some of it, I will say, is reasonable if you're not a huge Rush fan. It's my snob take, but I really do think they are an acquired taste, and I don't know how better to put it. So, if they're not for you, just quietly leave and don't be an a-hole about it. That's all I can say.
I'll just say this: they are an acquired taste. If you don't like them, acquire some taste.
I knew you'd pull that one out eventually. Very quick into the podcast too.
Yeah, but the biggest complaint I've heard, and this is coming from, I think, every single person I've ever talked to said they don't like Rush. They don't like Geddy's voice.
I always thought that was a weird critique. I don't know what it is about his voice that they don't like. I don't understand. But,
well, let's take, for example, Betty. She thinks his voice is too nasally and shrill.
Okay.
So, that's one thing. In the past, after I first started listening to Rush, I had people saying, "Oh, that sounds like a girl." And it's like, can you actually tell the difference between male and female voices here? I mean, he does not sound like a girl.
Maybe there's a little bit of parody in the early bluesy era with him and Janis Joplin, but Geddy does not sound like most females otherwise that I know.
Right. So, and there's other people who just say that they just don't like the way he sounds, and as a result, they don't want to listen to him. I think they'd like a whole album full of Rush instrumentals, personally, of which there are many.
They do have a lot of those, yes.
Mm-hmm. And I can't think of a single one that's bad.
I will say I tend to be a little more critical of instrumentals than I do songs with lyrics. I don't know why. It's a weird sort of thing for me, but Rush, they normally deliver the goods, even when Geddy's not accompanying them with his voice. So,
oh yeah,
but I might be a little biased in that perspective.
I remember reading an interview with Geddy once where the interviewer asked him if they'd ever considered doing an all-instrumental album. And his response was, "No, not really. We always have to be spouting off about something." And Mo's here.
Hey Mo, what is up? We hope that you are at least tolerant of Rush, or this is going to be a very long 2 to 3 hours.
Well, let's see what Mo has to say.
Yeah, same here. Kind of a sucky work week, to be honest. But okay, excellent. She's a Rush fan. We're in. Good.
Yep.
Good dingus.
So yeah, just to get some minor business out of the way, it has been a long week.
Yep.
I have visited so many doctors this past week, and on top of that, I upgraded my phone and had to do my usual errands on Friday. And yeah, so it was just. I've been used a pincushion more than once this week.
Jesus.
Yeah, I had blood drawn twice, and I got a shot and a bunch of other stuff. And the funny thing is, Snarb, is that this is just basic stuff for me. It just happened to all occur in 1 week.
I gotcha.
So usually, at least they're spread a couple weeks apart. And don't mind if you hear anything in the background. The dog's acting up.
They'll do that.
Oh, this one in particular.
Yep.
Still a puppy. Anyway. And Mike, you said you had a crappy work week. See, yeah, Snarb, you know.
Yeah, the latter 2 days lightened up, but the first 3 just had, like, every possible frustrating thing at my job happen in one way or another. And while Friday wasn't too bad for me, it was bad for my brother. We both have the same workplace. His building was completely out of power for the entire fucking day.
Jeez.
And yeah, he really wished he would have taken off then, but just a lot of bad luck and stupid bullshit coagulating at once.
Can't blame him.
What it is.
How about you, Jay?
Yeah, it's been an interesting week in its own right. Found out I got something else going on in my life now. I'm switching careers altogether. I'm no longer going to be dealing with cell phone sales, and I got into a company called Sleep Country. I'll be selling beds and things like that while I'm going to be doing some IT work on the side. So
Cool.
that was my week.
Oh, hey,
good deal.
Sounds like you did better than both of us.
Yeah, it sounds like you had an actually productive one and not just a frustrating one that made you wonder about your station in life.
True, very true.
So,
The most interesting thing that happened to me was just upgrading my phone.
Yep. And, yes.
That was what I used to do.
It's not that's good you got back in the drawing, but yeah, the weather is shit. Summer sucks. I fucking hate summer. Summer can eat my ass.
Yeah, it was really warm this week. Oh my god.
Oh,
it's so warm and humid. We don't even get 3 months off from school or our workplace or whatever. It's just a useless giant laser of death just beating down on us. It can mow. Amen there. It's I'm actually very much looking forward to winter. Maybe not so much the black ice, but I like the cold weather. So.
You think you're dealing with lasers of death? Where I live, you step out of the house and you automatically just light on fire.
Yeah, it's like that one Simpsons episode. If a hippie sings about sunshine on his shoulders making him happy, you are legally allowed to punch them.
Well, it's also like it was said, well, you're certainly doing your job today, Mr. Sun. Oh,
well, that's already our Simpsons reference out of the way there.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much Snarb from what I gather.
Yeah, well, Snarb lived here at one point, so...
Yeah, true.
Yeah. But anyway, on top of that, the constant thunderstorms that have gone on.
Ooh.
Over here.
Yeah, my daughter brought her new boyfriend out to meet us today. And what happened after they got here? The skies just opened up and let loose a torrential downpour.
Jeez.
So, kind of like the opposite of what lyrics I can garner from Jacob's Ladder, basically.
Yeah, but in order to go ahead and actually further connect this, when they walked in, he was wearing a Testament t-shirt.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm like your taste in music already. Now, she had forewarned me he was not a Rush fan.
Oh, well.
So I brought it up, and same thing, he just doesn't like Eddie's voice. But as a musician himself, he appreciates the fact that they were all masters of their craft.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is actually an interesting point to bring up about Rush. Even I hear this a lot from people who aren't personally fond of their music or Getty's voice, as you say, which seems to be the main deal breaker in a lot of the cases. They cannot deny their craftsmanship, if nothing else. If not liked by a fair chunk of people, they are almost always universally respected for how excellent they were with their respective instruments, and I really at least appreciate that more than enough people can at least acknowledge how talented they are, which I think goes into why I think it's worth having an entire stream about them, because yes, they are that great. Again, biased, but whatever.
On a side note, he also said he didn't like Megadeth for the same reason. He does not like Mustaine's voice.
Well, there are other reasons to not like Dave Mustaine, but that's fair. I can see that.
I prefer to keep my Megadeth back in the 90s.
Yeah, the early mid-90s, they're just on fucking fire.
Yeah.
Then came Risk, but this isn't a Megadeth stream, so...
No. We're probably never going to have a Megadeth stream either, so...
Probably not. We probably won't have any other full band streams like this. Rush is just not only that prominent, but they've had... Like, if we ever do other music streams, it'll probably be about, like, specific eras in music.
Or maybe genres. You never know.
Yes, exactly.
True.
But Rush has encompassed a lot of genres throughout their 40-ish year tenure, so there's a lot to discuss with just them.
Yeah. But before we get into any of that, how about we start off with our own personal experiences? Like, for example, Jay, how'd you get into Rush in the first place?
Well, let's see if I can remember that. Well, at least the first memory that I have of Rush was my friend and I. We would go to his dad's place every so often, and he had a basement full of music and pop and everything like that. And he's like, "You guys ever heard Rush?" And I'm like, "Who?" We were young, of course, like probably 8 or 9. It's like, I'm gonna put on some music for you, and trying to think of the song itself, but he said it was like the most perfect song ever made that he ever heard of at the time, anyways. He put it on. I was simply blown away by its sound, because during the 80s we had all those 80s bands, and they all felt very samey, I guess you could say, but I enjoyed it for a time I was a kid. But he put on something from like the 70s, and it was just so good. I think it was might have been Spirit of Radio or La Villa or something like that. Temples of Syrinx, that's what it was. I think it was that, actually.
Oh, okay.
It was a mixture. So yeah, he just played it, and we really got him. And ever since then, we tried to look for other bands that were of that time, like Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and things like that. But I always found myself going back to Rush because it felt different in style. Each album had their different touch, you know what I mean? Especially later on, going through the song music. Yeah, I think that was my earliest time that I can remember getting into Rush. If I heard Rush any time before that, I cannot remember for the life of me. Maybe my mom put it on for some reason, because they all grew up in the 70s and 60s and things like that. But, I just couldn't get enough of the music, so I would even play Final Fantasy listening to Rush. And I love the Final Fantasy music. So to have an actual live music different compared to the game, you're doing something really good.
Nice.
But yeah, I think that was my earliest personal experience of Rush. remember the exact song. I think it was one of those three there. He said the music was so perfect to him, like nothing was wrong with the song at all. And I thought, oh, got to be that good. And yeah, ever since then I read Rush. So
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned, Temple of Syrinx being your introduction. There was a cashier I knew once, and we got to talking about music one night, and I brought up Rush, and she's like, "I love Rush," and she told me that when she was at a party back in the late '70s, someone basically handed her a set of headphones and said, "Here, put these on. I want you to listen to something." And they put on the A side of 2112, so basically the song 2112. It takes up
nice.
the whole damn A side. But yeah, she said
Funny
she
man.
was absolutely blown away by it.
Yeah.
So nice. All right, Mike, how about you?
Well, this was in the period where I was semi stalking you
Yeah.
on the internet. I don't know how better to put it. Maybe I'm being too hard on myself, but
Oh, this
you
is back
know,
in the time you were calling me Robbie, wasn't it?
it was, yeah, there was that. You can hold that over my
That's
head
something.
forever, and you deserve to, because I was. I felt like I didn't have the hugest concept of boundaries when I was like 14, 15 or so. But
And
I
before
learned
you go on, let's
eventually.
let's give him a little context on that. I used to have a guest book on West Mansion, and Mike just kept posting there. And I remember one of the messages he left. He's like, "Robbie, Robbie, this," and he went up with a message on it. And finally, I'm just like, "Why don't you come over to my forum and talk there?" And he
And I
did,
did.
and he's been there. He's been around ever since.
That's
So,
just how it
Like
happens.
that.
So,
yeah.
yeah, since I came upon his OPCFG site and I realized that like almost every game, if not absolutely every game he liked, aligned totally with my own tastes. I figured, hey, if our tastes in games are similar, maybe our taste in music would be compatible. Except I realized, for as early as that was, I didn't really have a defined concept of what music I knew that I had liked. I mean, I grew up just listening to what was popular in the 90s. So, grunge was a fair shape for me. But um, I didn't realize what my own favorite band was until I saw on his personal website, Zero Signal, that uh, he had given a taste of what his favorite movies and music was, and I also realized, hey, I like a lot of these movies that he likes too. So, let's go 3 for 3. Maybe I'll try and get into this music that he likes also. And he has all these favorite bands. We'll start with Rush. That's his big one. And I know it's really pedestrian, but they were at least, playing Tom Sawyer and Limelight with some regularity back then. Those are like maybe the only two songs some radio stations even know. But hey, if there's any place to start, then that's a fair caliber to go with. And yeah, I thought they sounded really unique. I thought this Getty guy, I was not hating his voice. If anything, I was interested in how distinctive it was. Like he doesn't sound like all the 70s or 80s members of the high voice crew, as my mom would put it. He had a very stand out clarity in how his vocals were. So, yeah, I was interested, and I decided to get Moving Pictures. As a result, it was actually the first album I ever remember purchasing with my own money. And I did that actually around the time that Vapor Trails had just released, and the clerk at the place where I got it had said that Moving Pictures is excellent, and she also wanted me to know that, hey, they had a new album that was coming out or was out, and I was thinking, yeah, I'll definitely get into that one, but I have so much else I have to cover because they've had albums coming out through the past 3 decades. I'm only just now getting to Vapor Trails, so I just kind of bounced around. I think, once I realized, hey, I like Rush, I asked Rob where I should go next, and I just kind of followed suit naturally, mostly floating around their early 80s period at first, then going back to the 70s, then forward to the rest of the 80s and 90s. And then I got up to Vapor Trail, and then Vapor Trails, and I realized, oh shit, I like a lot of this. This is pretty great. It just kind of sort of naturally settled in to becoming my favorite band, and it was partially because I had more or less ripped off Rob's taste, but if dumb cheap pop statement, but if you're going to rip off from anyone, rip off from the best, right? I'm sorry.
Thank you.
That was hardly aggrandizing, but yeah, it is what it is.
Keep in mind that you're talking to the guy who introduced so many of his friends to different bands after having the same thing done to me.
Exactly. It's just you guys knew what you were talking about with your music, so and all right. Hey, Sharon's a Rush fan. Nice.
Yes, she is.
Hey, Sharon.
Excellent. Welcome. But that's how that went, and I had become enough of a fan by the time I got up to Vapor Trails that, oh wow, they're releasing another album. Oh wow, they're going on tour. Wait, I'm actually going to. Well, we'll save that for a bit, I guess. But yes.
So, we come to me, and yes, the Happy Boarworm, and that's still on West Mansion.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really awesome. I gotta look that one up.
I think it's in the humor section.
Okay.
All right. Now, my Rush story is it's a little more convoluted than you guys.
Okay.
I'll just say the first thing I ever remember seeing associated with Rush was, I think I was in 3rd grade, and there was a kid in my class wearing what may have been a Moving Pictures t-shirt. I know it said Rush on it. I'm just like, the hell is Rush? I don't know. And then, after that, nothing happened. Until about 1991. And I had, really started to get into a lot of bands at the time. Metallica, they just released the Black Album. Guns N' Roses had Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. So I'd taken to listening to the local rock station, which was, at the time, WDIZ out of Orlando. And station's long gone. But every night they would play like the top 10 most requested songs or whatever, and so I'm listening. Of course, they're playing like Enter Sandman and Don't Cry and stuff like that. But at one point, they were playing this song called Dreamline, and it's like, huh. And then I remembered I actually had heard it on the bus at one point going to school. And I remember kind of hearing it and going, that sounds pretty good. And yeah, I didn't think of it after that. But it inspired me to really start finding out more about this Rush band. I found it was from their new album, Roll the Bones. And after which the title track was released. And I thought that was pretty good too. There's a bit in that we'll talk about later, but it was enough for me to take what little money I had and go actually buy the Roll the Bones cassette, which I still have. It's one of the only 2 cassettes I have left. The other being the original soundtrack to Raiders of the Lost Ark. Big surprise. And after I graduated and started working, I started buying CDs. And first CD I ever bought was Roll the Bones. Now, at the same time, Sharon had a copy of the Rush Chronicles Greatest Hits album, which she'd gotten from our brother, our older brother. And she let me listen to it. And it's funny, as I'm going through listening to this, I was like, wait a minute, I know this song. I heard it on the radio. Hey, I know this one too. I heard this on the radio. And it's like, so all these are by the same band. Interesting. So next thing I did was go out and buy a copy of Chronicles. And the more I listened to that, the more I wanted to start checking out their other stuff. So I just pretty much went and bought everything they had up to that point. And after that, though, the first album, I was there basically on the ground floor for in terms of I actually read up, saw when it was coming out, caught the world premiere of the first single and all that other kind of stuff was Counterparts.
Yeah.
So, like I said, a little more convoluted, but that's how that was back in, like I said, 91, and then 93 is when Counterparts released, as I recall. So, yeah, it's been quite some time. In fact, I'd say I've been a Rush fan for well over half my life by now. So,
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, speaking of other personal experiences, who here has actually seen them live?
Wish I could have said yes, but I haven't.
Oh, sorry, Jay.
Sorry,
All
well,
good.
I did actually see them live once. Rob saw them twice, if I'm not mistaken, at least twice.
You are correct. I wish I had the money to go see them more than that, but unfortunately I just managed twice.
Yeah.
Hell of a difference in pricing, though, because the first time I saw them was on the Counterpart store in 94. My ticket cost $30. I
Yeah, not bad.
saw them again in 2011 on the Time Machine tour. Ticket was $100.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
I saw them in 2008 when they played the Hershey Stadium on their Snakes and Arrows tour. I was a poor college student, and I never learned how much it costs. My mom, awesome as she is, actually got me a ticket as a gift because she knew I was a huge Rush fan, and I probably wouldn't get the opportunity to see them again if they came this close, and that is indeed the case, so I'm glad it was taken as soon as we could get it. I was thinking, though. Something,
Sorry, Mo.
yeah, sorry to hear that.
Alright.
I was thinking, though, I was really worried that, like, one of the band members was going to die before I got to see them. And in a manner of speaking, that did happen. The original drummer, John Rutsey, passed away in 2008 before I was going to go see them at Hershey. Neil, at the time, was still alive and kicking, so... yeah, no, it was a really fucking boffo show. It was... They went all out as they usually do, and they're not somebody who half-asses their live shows. They make a huge, big presentation out of it. I know they had this... I'm not really much of a fan of South Park nowadays, but the bit they had with them trying to sing Tom Sawyer and Cartman getting the lyrics terribly wrong was actually pretty amusing.
Oh, they're friends with Matt Parker and Trey Stone, as I recall.
Yeah, they're friends with a lot of people. At Getty, especially, bassists are practically an underground community that they're all a part of, which actually went into a miniseries they did later on. But it was an awesome show. I like it, although it was the Snakes and Arrows tour, and that's one of the albums I'm a little bit more mixed on compared to others. So, like, if I had my drug, they play. There are a few like semi-obscure favorites I have that I wouldn't have expected them to play, but if I could, I would have traded a few of the songs from Snakes and Arrows for those. But that's not what I'm supposed to do as a fan. I was up for hearing anything that they had. It was their show. Fuck, if they even wanted to play Dog Years, I would have eaten it up. And I would have applauded them for being so audacious, for even thinking to play that not so excellent song. But, it was an excellent show. I'm really, really fucking glad I got to see them while they were active. So,
as far as it goes for me, the first time I saw them, it was like, I can see Rush. They're coming to Orlando. So I got together with Bromley. We each got a ticket. Granted, they were in the nosebleeds. That wouldn't have affected the price in 2011, but I made sure to bring binoculars.
that's fair.
And hell of a show. It was just phenomenal being able to hear them live. And Alex made a great joke during the show because they mentioned that they're in Florida, so they went to Disney World, and Alex takes it over and he's like, "Yeah, I heard this one. Anyone here who works for Disney, you can tell this. Tell them I don't care." It's like Mickey goes to see a divorce lawyer and tells him he wants to get a divorce from Minnie, and tells her she's crazy. And well, the doctor says, you can't just get a divorce because she's crazy. And Mickey's like, no, I didn't say she was crazy. I said she was fucking goofy.
I actually remember on Beavis and Butthead they attempted that, but they said doing Goofy, which was totally ruining the joke, and of course they couldn't say the F word on national television, so they just took that to make him look like dumbasses. But yeah, it's a pretty classic joke.
Alex had no problem dropping the F-bomb.
No, yeah, Getty and Alex are actually pretty profane off the clock from what I understand, which is ironic because Rush has almost never said a single curse in any of their actual lyrics. The closest I can think of, well, we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah.
But they've been a relatively clean band all throughout, and for as blue as I work, as you all know,
Oh yeah.
I respect that they've able to work with the lyrics that they have without having to resort to explosive emotion in that sense.
Yeah.
Of course, Neil Peart being as, and I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Peart, although I've heard it several different ways. But
well, they don't call him the professor for nothing.
Yeah, no, he was. Yeah, when he came along, he became their chief lyricist, and Getty's been belting out what he's been writing for 40-ish years then, so it worked pretty well.
Now, just to finish up my concert stories real quick, I had one disappointment at that first concert. I mean, they played a lot of great stuff. They played a lot of stuff off of Counterparts, obviously, since that was the album they were touring for.
Nice.
But a lot of classics, except they did not play Subdivisions.
Aww.
Turns out the song was on moratorium at the time.
That's weird.
Well, yeah, every so often bands do that. It's like, well, we've been playing this song live for 20 years, and we want to give it a break for a little bit.
I should note they did play Subdivisions when I saw them, so...
Oh, don't worry. I got Subdivisions. Because when I saw them on the Time Machine tour, they played it.
Nice. There we go.
I remember commenting, it's like, what was it, 2011? Let's see. Pretty sure it's in 2011 anyway. Yeah, that's wrong. I remember saying, it's like 17 years and it's totally worth the wait. And one of the guys sitting next to me is like, hell yeah, man. It's like, and that was a hell of a show. I liked it actually a little better than the first one.
Nice.
They played Moving Pictures in its entirety.
Oh,
Very nice.
They played some other songs I hadn't expected to hear, like Marathon.
Ooh.
And
cut from their synth era and all approval of.
one of my favorite songs from that era, too.
Yes, it's a good one.
Well, Mo, these things do happen. At least, better that you got on the Rush train when you did, if other than say, I don't know, last week. But
better late than never, to be sure.
Yeah. Or was it Density? Sorry, if I could throw in a Back to the Future reference somewhere, I will.
You will, yes.
Yeah, but
okay, Daddy-o.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Exactly. So yeah, but put both concerts together, and it was just like solid greatness. I wish I'd been able to see him a few more times, but unfortunately, it was not to be. But hey, twice is better than none.
That is true.
Of course, I've run
Voice
into
better than
people.
one, one's better than none. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Of course, I've run into people like, yeah, I saw Rush on every tour since 1976. I hate you.
Yeah, yeah. You obviously have a lot more money and travel space than we do. So you're 1%. Go fuck yourself. That's just me being bitter.
Yeah, well.
I'm with you on that.
Anyway, yes.
So, yeah, that's basically how we all got into Rush and any concert experiences we had. The closest I ever got to meeting the band was meeting Kevin J. Anderson.
Yeah.
He'd collaborated with Neil on the novelization for Clockwork Angels, their last album. So that was like 1 degree of separation from Rush right there when I met him.
And those are both great albums, Sharon. I feel that their late 80s and 90s stuff is, for the most part, very underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, I think almost everything's underrated except their early 80s stuff, which is when I think they were really at the height of their fame. And even still, I wouldn't say that one's, for the most part, rated. It's perfect for the most part. I'm tripping over my own words. What does rated even mean?
I don't know.
They're all of ours, Sharon. I actually don't think I knew you were a Rush fan, so my apologies.
I could have told you that.
Yeah, you could have. I'm a dumbass.
So, you know what we're going to do now? I think we're going to just... You see the albums are down at the bottom of the screen there? We're going to go through each of those album by album and give our specific thoughts on them. What we like, what we don't like, whatever.
Yep.
To be perfectly honest, the last few I probably don't know that much. I listened to a lot of them, but the last few I cannot remember for the life of me. But maybe when we're talking through it, might jog some. It's a lot of Rush.
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot, yeah.
So, but we're going to divide it up into eras as well. Like, talking about the first 3 albums, that belongs to the era referred to by some people as the Ged Zeppelin era.
Yeah.
Oh, how do we account for that?
Well, we start with the first album, the self-titled, which was the only one to feature their original drummer in, the recorded, I guess you could say, Rush discography, which would be the late John Rutsey.
John Rutsey would be to them what Charlie Dominici would be to Dream Theater, effectively.
Mm-hmm. And he ended up leaving Rush after the album came out because he had health issues, which prevented him from going on the kind of large-scale tours they wanted to do. And apparently the kind of music they were wanting to do didn't jive with what he wanted to do. So, But, so the original album. Jay, what are your thoughts on this one?
Honestly, I haven't listened to this in a long time. I've listened to more of the some of the other albums more in the middle ground, but I do remember Working Man, which I enjoyed. I didn't realize it was John Rutsey doing the drums at the time, but again, it was like when you listen to Rush for so long, you forget they had other people in the band in the first place. And it's an interesting note to that. We had a different start altogether with them. But I don't remember all the songs off the top of my head, but I do remember Working Man. I enjoyed that one. It's not a song that I go to all the time these days. I think it would be when we get there, probably more like Spirit of Radio and everything like that. I don't know. An interesting start, but they definitely got better as they went along, for sure. They found their way, I think, with a couple of the albums later on.
Oh, like the song "Finding My Way" that was also on there.
Exactly, the very first song there. I was trying to make a pun. Give me a break.
Sorry that I belabored that.
Hey, guys,
Anyway.
one thing, guys. The only thing I'm requesting, since we have 20 albums to go through, we're gonna try and keep everything to a reasonable minimum so we can actually cover all of them.
Right. Have the duck nearby in case I get carried away.
Yeah, I'm mainly talking to Mike here, just so you know, Jay.
He is. Yes.
Yeah. Unless there's a very specific story that I can think of, but I'll be as brief as possible too.
And I will as well.
Okay.
So, Mike, your thoughts on the self-titled?
I don't have too much more to add on top of Jay. Obviously, Working Man's the standout track. I think I get the impression it's like the only one that the band themselves is actually really proud of after the fact. I think it was the only one that had any sort of staying power in their live shows afterward. The rest of it is very take or leave. Like one or two other songs in this one were pretty good, but I forget which specifically. I will say that Here Again is not great. It goes on too long, and it's kind of white boy bluesy, for lack of a better term. I'm sorry to put it that way. And In the Mood is not good because Rush is not a band that usually resorts to a bunch of intercourse with you songs, and that they have one at all that exists is just kind of a terrifying anomaly almost. So
it's like it's just not on brand for Rush, writing songs about getting laid.
Yeah, no, it really isn't. That's why we call it Get Zeppelin, because, and I think this is something that Geddy himself is willing to admit, they didn't really have a good sense of their own musicianship at the time. A lot of it was really more informed from what else was huge in the rock scene at the time, which, Led Zeppelin was like the biggest fucking band on earth when they got their start, so a good chunk of their first album bites off from Led Zeppelin, and you can very obviously hear that in some cases. Me, as not the biggest fan of Zeppelin, is ergo not the biggest fan of this album. Hence, hot take, but not a hot take that I'm not a huge Zeppelin fan. I don't think it's a hot take that I don't love this album, because a lot of the rest of the fandom doesn't seem to love it either, except for Working Man once again. But it was their freshman effort. They had a very long way to go, so I'm a little more lenient on this one for not being excellent, because sometimes you just gotta start somewhere. Sometimes you hit it off the gate like Pearl Jam with 10, but not always. More often than not, the first album is usually not the best, and that's definitely the case for them. So,
Hey, Brandon, welcome aboard.
And hey, Brandon, what is up?
So now
they did have different people, like John and sorry. I was just going to say they had a different drummer too, so they didn't have that style that we know.
Yeah, that's another point. Not only did they not have Neil as the drummer yet, but they didn't have him as the lyricist. So I think just Geddy and Alex wrote the lyrics, and
yeah, pretty much.
The difference is palpable as soon as Neil came on board. So I don't want to disparage Geddy and Alex's writing abilities. They're both extremely freaking smart men, but Neil was something else when it came to their lyrics. So
yeah. We'll get to him in a minute, though.
There. Yes.
So as far as I'm concerned, it's one of my least listened to Rush albums. I like Finding My Way. I like Working Man. But yeah, In the Mood, definitely not on brand for them. But something to remember is that Working Man is the song that broke them in America, because it was that one DJ that played them in, I think it was Cleveland, and it just exploded. So that ultimately got them their contract with Mercury, and really started them on the road that they were destined to go down. So I think that's another reason they included that in all their sets. Anybody still there?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
just checking. You guys just went totally silent for a second, and it's like, did I lose you?
No.
In the mood.
I just don't know what to say about that. That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So, from there we go on to Fly By Night, which was their first album with Neil. Because after John Rutsey left, they got Neil, and he was actually more influenced by bands like King Crimson. And so, and he wrote, he was a prolific writer. So he started penning all the lyrics. Fly By Night, out of the initial three, is my favorite one. I can tell you that. Obviously, you got, Fly By Night's a classic, and the rest of the album is good, with one exception. I am not a fan of the song Rivendell. It's a real snooze. It's like they jumped on that whole we're gonna sing about Tolkien like all the other prog bands at the time. And it's like, no, just no. It's a snoozer. So, how about you, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, by default, it is the best of their first three albums, I would say. Still not the hugest fan of it, if that's not too hard to take. There's some great cuts on it. Like you said, the title track's great. Anthem is great. For their first, real proggy song, Bytor and the Snow Dog ain't bad.
Nope.
It is a pretty solid album overall, except for the very slow-paced Rivendell, and if you boys were trying to distinguish yourself from Led Zeppelin, doing a fucking Tolkien song was not the way to break away from them.
Ain't that right?
But, they're still shaking out some of their, early deficiencies, let's say. This one, at least, was not a sophomore slump, while they still haven't reached peak them yet. It was a huge step in the right direction compared to their self-titled debut. Other than that, I don't have as much to say about this one as I think I maybe should, but again, we're trying to keep these short, so maybe that's for the best. Wicked album cover, though. That Al's awesome.
So, how about you, Jay?
I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Fly By Night is one of the ones I do listen a little bit more off of this. They do have some good tracks in here. I honestly don't remember Rivendell, but from you guys saying, I almost will go back to it. There has been a lot of that, like you're saying, for the Led Zeppelin, for instance, would do a lot of those Tolkien stuff and all that. While they are good songs, if you're trying to break away from that, or at least not try to be like Zeppelin, that was the wrong way to go, for sure. Again, they're starting to find their voice. They have Neil Peart now on their That's a genius too with his drums, and so we're starting to get there, get into the songs that I really enjoy from them. I don't know what else I can really add other than Fly By Night is definitely one of the songs I really enjoyed from that I remember most, but I do remember Anthem a little bit more too. Riverdale, I remember at all. Maybe it's because it was that boring.
Interesting note about Anthem. Not only is it a great song, but it ended up being, I'm not sure exactly what you'd call it, but if you ever look on like a lot of the later Rush albums, you'll see like by Anthem Entertainment. So it's kind of their own personal thing, I guess.
Oh, I see what you're getting at.
Yeah, I don't know what the proper term would be, but that's what it is. So, now that they've established themselves as, getting better, then all of a sudden we hit the first major speed bump that almost killed the band.
Oopsies.
Caress of Steel. And I have to go here because basically there are 5 songs on this album. The first one, Bastille Day, fantastic song.
Bastille Day is great. No one's going to argue that, I don't think.
And then we had our first misstep with I Think I'm Going Bald.
Oh,
what a title.
Logan, how's it going?
And hey, Logan, what's up?
Hey, Logan.
You might be the only person here who thinks that, Logan.
Caress of Steel does have some defenders. Actually, this seems to happen with a lot of albums that are junked for their time. Over time, they eventually accrue their defenders and outspeakers who think that they weren't all that bad, and that is fair. For a relative weak point of a band in question, I would still say that, Caress of Steel is nothing to be ashamed of, like Saint Anger would be for Metallica, but it's still pretty flawed.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going bald is something that Neil should have waited to right when he had a little more life, until he had a little more life experience under his belt.
Yeah, that is a good point, because he was only in his 30s or so when that was written.
If
maybe
that.
not even that.
Yeah. And then there was Lakeside Park, which was decent. And then back to back, you had the Necromancer and the Fountain of Lamneth, like their two earliest prog epics. And I just can't get into those. I have tried and tried and tried, and I just can't. So, yeah. So, Jay, what do you think of this one?
Same as you. Honestly, I do remember Bastille Day. I think that's about the only one I do remember listening to. The rest seems like those are not songs I'm used to. Yeah, I'll have to go with what you said. There's not much I can add other than the fact that, like you said, they kind of was their hitting a wall, but good thing they didn't stop here.
Right.
We wouldn't be talking about them today.
Well, I will say though, it did send them into a slump though, because I mean even the tour they did for that had a lot less people going. They called it the Down the Tubes tour as a result.
Yeah, so they're probably thinking, what can we do to make it better next time? We'll get there in a few.
And it's interesting because the label wanted them to do something a little more safe. So instead they just doubled down and created 2112.
Which, as it were, turned out to be the right move. It's kind of staggering to think that, if they weren't as inclined to be bold, that, Caress of Steel might have been their final album. It would have just been, that cult Canadian band who released 3 albums, one of which was pretty good and 2 of which weren't so good. They've just been known as the Fly By Night band.
Yeah, exactly.
In an alternate darker universe where they didn't go on to greater and better from there on. But Caress of Steel, I don't have a lot of love for. Pretty much echoing what you guys have said. Bastille Day is great. Lakeside Park's okay. Thinking going bald is an abomination. Never should have been done. And they're 2 prog epics. I do not remember a thing from Fountain or from Lamneth. My thought is, whereas some of their earlier efforts were biting more off of Led Zeppelin, like they were still sort of taking in other bands' sort of styles at the time. My thought is that these 2 attempts at roaming 20-minute prog types, it's their attempt to be more like Genesis, specifically like Peter Gabriel era Genesis, and that wasn't the best fit for them, as it turned out. They had. I mean, they would still do some proggy stuff afterward, but it would definitely be much more them. This, Fountain, and the other one...
Necromancer.
Necromancer. I was going to say Fountain. I said Fountain and Lamneth. No, it's the Fountain of Lamneth, the other one's... That's how much of a shit I give about them, which isn't very much, unfortunately.
And,
but...
Logan, just so you know, this occasionally decently low-rate Led Zeppelin fan fiction, it has a name. Ged Zeppelin.
Yes. Take Ged Zeppelin with you. I forget who said it originally. I think I coined it from somewhere. I don't know where I originally got it from, but I think that's been floating around for a while. And yes, Neil did help them very much, except that Caress of Steel was kind of an error. Geddy's really not proud of this one. He admitted that they were all pretty fucking high, probably, when they did it, so that's what I remember reading. Growing Pains, to be sure. If Fly By Night was the start of the real Rush, then Caress of Steel is definitely the sophomore slump. And like I said, trying to be like Gabriel era Genesis was not a great fit for them. But, as we saw, they eventually got a much better idea of who they are and what they should be. So it worked out pretty well.
Then why don't you kick things off with 2112, Mike? I meant the discussion, not trying to imitate them.
That was a terrible enough imitation. I don't think we're going to get copyrighted for it, but thank you. Yes. Brandon, I do really like both the Gabriel and Collins eras of Genesis. Genesis is actually my second favorite band below Rush, if you can believe it. But I'm not sure if we're going to have a Genesis live cast, so just sticking on Rush for now and talking about 2112. Thank you, Mo and Sharon. I try poorly, but I try. But yeah, 2112 was.
There we go.
2112 was the one that was like they had unlocked their true rushiness, like in Pardon the Last Dragon, where Leroy realizes that he's the master and then kicks Shonuff's ass. That's kind of a weird analogy, but that's where they had become the real Rush with the title track, which was another 20-minute prog epic, but it was much more original for them. I couldn't even tell you what their influences were, but the 7-part 2112 is a hell of a fucking tour de force. Kind of a depressing story. That back when concept pieces and albums told actual fictional stories instead of just going with a theme. I mean, most songs tell a story, as it were. But, this was one that could have been from an actual book or whatever, as per Neil's scholarly tendencies. And it's a hell of a piece, to say the least. I mean, the Temples of Syrinx, the second part, is probably the most famous one and could be set as a single apart from it, but I like a lot of the rest. I like Discovery. I like was it Soliloquy? Was it? Oh, it's been a while since I listened to it. That was the sad part. Yeah. What were 7 parts? Hang on. Yes, Soliloquy was the 6th part. Yeah, presentation where things go to shit. The grand finale still gives me some chills. And yeah, 2112 itself is great. That was their definitive statement. Obviously, it couldn't get a lot of radio play outside of the Temples of Syrinx and or the Overture, but, if that was enough to get them on board, then, people were in the fucking know afterward, and this was what made people... This is what Rush made to demand that people recognize them, and boy howdy it worked. And Psycho 2 is actually really damn good as well. I really like the Twilight Zone and Something for Nothing a freaking lot. Tears ain't bad either. It's very, very downcast, but...
I'm surprised at how often that song's been covered, to say the truth.
Yeah, that's not one that you think would be... one that a Rush song gets immediately recognized to the extent that it's covered, but that was one that Alice in Chains actually covered, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so Dream Theater.
Oh, that's amazing. My only widespread criticism is that I'm not huge on the passage to Bangkok, which does the fucking Oriental riff. It's embarrassing, to say the least, but, I guess that was more acceptable in the 70s, so what can you do?
But it was a song about them going around trying to find the best weed.
Oh, that's what that was about. Really?
Yes, that's exactly what that's about.
Yeah, okay, well, fuck, you're right. It's about cannabis tourism, huh? Well, shit. Well, if it wasn't for the fucking riff, I would like the song more. It's not bad otherwise, I suppose. But yeah, now 2112, it's not a perfect album, but it is a solid album. And like I said, it's kind of like where the real Rush begins. And from then on, oh boy, the fucking rocket ship was the fuel was being put into it. The sky was the limit, as it were.
And a lot of people think it's a concept album, but it's not.
The first half is.
Yes, the first
the rest,
half. That does not make it a concept album, though. It just means the first half
no.
is.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, no, Rush never threw in on a full-blown concept album. They've only had 20-minute-ish long concept pieces. So
Not until the very end, anyway.
That. Oh yeah, you're right. Clockwork Angels is a concept album. Son of a bitch! It took them that long to actually do that.
Yep.
Huh. Well, what do you know? I guess that was when you could consider them a true prog band. Finally.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Jay, your thoughts on 2112?
Okay, so how do I follow that?
Well, Mike does have a tendency to go on, so.
I can do that. That is true. Thank you for not ducking me, though. That time.
Next time you do, you will.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, sir.
No, you said a lot of good stuff about 2112. It is like if you want a good time for 20 minutes or so, put that song on. You will be transcended to like a whole different world because they're talking about quite a storyline in there. It takes a little time to get into the actual lyrics, which is in the Temples of Syrinx, but that overture, damn, what a beginning to a song. You're just like, okay, I'm in it, I'm hooked. I cannot wait to see where this goes. And a lot of people don't realize when they hear 2112 that it's actually broken up in parts mentally. Because I do see reaction videos to these 2112 and other songs of Rush.
Mm-hmm.
They will listen to 2112 and don't realize it's a bunch of different songs together, but flows very well.
Well, it's
beautiful song.
Yeah, right? It's basically one big song with, I think, 7 different movements.
Exactly. That sounds better than what I said. But I guess you kind of know what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
Beautiful song. I will listen to that. I listen to that almost every week. And it's just that good of a song. I do remember the others. Passage of Bangkok. I think I remember the riff you're talking about. But I think I liked it when I was younger a little bit more. But again, when you're a kid, listening to all these songs, you're not realizing all the stuff behind it. But no, it's a great way to get into Rush for sure if you want to know what their style really is. At least in that era, go with 2112. It'll give you a good idea of what it's like. Again, 20 minutes of your time, you're not going to be bored. You're not going to regret it. You're going to have a blast listening to that song. And the rest of the album, just cakewalk compared. I enjoyed it. I love that album just because of that song alone. And yeah, I don't know. Go with what Mike said as well.
Well, just a side note, we've officially entered the prog era. You know, they've left Led Zeppelin territory behind.
Yes.
Yep.
And I love 2112, even the filler tracks, as Logan referred to them. I used to have a 20-minute drive to work. So some days I would just go out to my car, start it up, turn on 2112. And by the time you heard that whole, attention all planets of the Solar Federation, we have assumed control, I was pulling into the parking lot.
That's perfect timing. Wow.
Mm-hmm. So, I can't really say much about that either, so we're going to just move on to a Farewell to Kings. This one, I like a lot. There's a lot of great songs on here. There is one song that I personally felt is a bit overrated, though, which may surprise some people, and that's Closer to the Heart. It just, I don't know, it's a good song, don't get me wrong, but it's just, so many people praise it as like one of the best Rush songs ever, and it's like, I've heard better. The title track alone blows that away.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Cygnus X1, oh man, that's a hell of a song. Plus, I think it was Madrigal's on there, and Cinderella Man, and Xanadu. Cannot forget Xanadu. Oh,
very song I was listening to before we started.
yep. Yeah, that could be Logan. But yeah, that whole album is just fantastic, beginning to end, even with Closer to the Heart. So, uh, Jay, your turn.
Considering, yeah, Farewell King did Xanadu, just because it's still fresh in my mind. I love that song. I watched the live version to it. It's such a such an experience with that song. I love it. Um, I think you're kind of right with Closer to the Heart. It's a good song, but I didn't realize how much praise that got compared to like the other two. I enjoyed it. Xanadu, I think I liked it more, but it's a longer song too.
Xanadu
I
is great. So,
I know it's dang. I what they do, especially the live version, like the way they're doing the different instruments at the same time, and you see how talented Lee and Lifeson are going with that song alone makes me just want to listen to that over and over again. I may not remember Cinderella Man and Madrigal or anything like that, but um, I recommend listening at least the first sight, at the very least, if nothing else. But check it out. Good album. You're not going to go wrong with Xanadu, Farewell Kings. You'll see their style for sure. Those.
side note, Sharon, you're jumping way ahead here when you bring up stuff like Kid Gloves. So,
I'd love to talk about Grace Under Pressure, but we're not there yet. So
exactly. So,
hold your
yeah, we'll
There's still a
get
few
there.
albums. Look at there.
I wouldn't exactly call it an earlier album. It's about midway through their discography. But I digress. Mike, you get 3 sentences. Make them count.
3. Come on, man.
All right, 3.5.
3
Well,
long sentences.
Well, I wanted to tell a little anecdote about Closer to the Heart, so I need a little more than 3 for that.
Fine, you get 4, and you're on a strict 30-second time limit.
This is robbery, man. I'm not going to abuse it. I don't have as much to say about Farewell to Kansas.
Go ahead. Tell your anecdote, Mike.
So yeah, our friend Weasel does not like Closer to the Heart because one time his shuffle for some reason played the song 4 times in a row and he got sick of it then and there. Like it somehow it won the lottery of playing like all the different like live versions or whatever that was just playing right then in a gauntlet, and he never wanted to hear the song again after that, which is I don't know how that happened. That's kind of hilarious and amusing. Interesting to see there's not a huge bunch of love for Closer to the Heart here. I'm a little bit mixed on Farewell to Kings as an album on the whole, but I will agree, side 1, both the title track and Xanadu, fucking bombers, they're excellent. I really, really like Xanadu a lot in particular. 11 minute, actually being a huge freaking nerd I am, having studied a bit of Coleridge in college, the song was made all the more valuable to me to learn about Kubla Khan and the unfinished part and the person from Porlock and whatnot. But it's nerdy, but it appeals to the kind of lit guy that I at least used to be. So, Closer to the Heart, it is what it is. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I actually kind of like Cinderella Man. I wouldn't say it's one of the most underrated tracks, but I don't think it's bad. I'm not huge on Madrigal. It's a little bit too saccharine for me, honestly. Cygnus X1, Book 1 fucking kicks ass. And it ends nearly on the highest note Getty has ever hit in his career. He's yelling, "Screeching torn apart." Literally those 2 words as loud as he can, and it feels like he really is getting torn apart by, like, the forces of space or whatever that the song's going for. And
the black hole is Cygnus X1.
Yes. Really fucking creepy note to end on. One of the creepiest bends they've ever did. Turns out it works out pretty well for the protagonist in question when we get to book 2, but, at that point, hell of a cliffhanger to leave off on. So,
Yeah,
it's
I love how actually after he has that and everything just builds to a crescendo, and all of a sudden he's just like boom, and then just Alex kind of just slowly fades us out.
yeah, it's a very interesting bend for them. So, I would say Farewell of the Kings isn't one of their stronger albums, but it starts out excellent and ends excellent. It's just the meat in between is maybe a little dry. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Now, Sharon, I know you don't know all their discography, but
Sure,
when we get to the song, the albums where the songs you know in particular are going to be, we'll mention them. I mean, I know which ones you're thinking of usually. So, but yeah, that led us right into Hemispheres, which opened up with Cygnus X1 Book 2, which I don't think I've ever seen another band do anything like that before. I might be wrong, but I can't think of any others right now. And that, when you play X1 Book 1 and 2 back to back, it's basically just like this big half-hour song. And it's interesting because, you know, Cygnus X1 is all about how this spaceship, the Rocinante, goes to the black hole of Cygnus X1 and gets pulled in. And then Book 2 starts off in, like, ancient Greece. But, of course, all's made clear by the ending. And then we get to the rest of the album. Let's see, there's the trees, which I always got a kick out of the trees. And it's kind of a ludicrous thing, but at the same time, it works. The trees are all kept equal by hatchet, axe, and saw. And Circumstances was good. And then we get to probably the hottest of any hot take I have about Rush. And if I've mispronounced it, forgive me, but I have never been a fan of La Via Strangiato. It's good, don't get me wrong. I just didn't latch onto it like so many other people did. So, but other than that, yeah, it's a completely solid album. And I'll listen to the whole thing, no problem. All right, Mike.
I gotta agree with Logan this one. I think Hemispheres is also my favorite of the prog albums. It's one that I really don't have much, if any, complaints about. It's the Book 2 of Cygnus X1, which is, I believe, the entire first A-side. Hell, I forget if that was like their last major roaming prog piece. No, they had a couple afterward, but it is really good. It feels like it draws a lot on Neil's knowledge of literature and classic mythology and whatnot. Again, I was kind of a nerd for that stuff in high school and college, so it's some great shit. Circumstances, one of their most underrated songs ever. I think is a real banger, and I do like La Via Strangiato, or I would pronounce it, a lot. Rob is crazy, but you're allowed to have a few hot takes over here and there.
That's right. You're damn right I'm crazy.
And then there's the trees, which I have to admit, for a while, I actually thought was stupid. Like, too stupid even for Rush's General Over. I just thought it was dumb. This feels like a kid's song or whatever was a thought that I had for a while. But it grew on me. I eventually grew to appreciate the absurdity of it. It's a cute song, to be sure, but again, it's got some solid musicianship. It almost feels a little like something that you'd hear from one of their earlier albums before this, but like not in a bad way. Like, if you told me this one was on Caress of Steel, I possibly would have believed it. But again, that's not a bad thing in this case. It's just really well made, and apparently they just made it. There was like nothing political they actually had to say about it. They just made it because they saw a cartoon with trees talking to each other or whatever, and that's what kind of brought it together for me. This song's just silly. Take it for what it is, and yeah, it's a good one. I have come around to appreciating the trees. So yeah, Hemispheres. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. It's that definitely a top tenner. Not sure if it's a top fiver, but it is a great one. So
How about you, Jay?
Yeah, pretty similar thoughts on that. I do like the idea that how they kind of bridged the previous album to this one with Book Two. Um, like you said, I don't think I can recall any other band doing something like that, or at least if it have occurred with other bands, it's very few and far between. So kudos for them trying something totally unique with how they started with this one. Um, I do happen to like La Vida Stranagliato. I don't even know how you say that. I guess we all said it
Yeah.
differently on this time. Um, I don't remember the trees being as silly, but the, tr- the title itself is silly enough. But no, it's a good album, solid. Don't have any complaints personally. I don't know. I've seen a lot worse stuff from them, especially from the beginning. But yeah, I don't have too much to add to this particular one.
Well, at this point was when Rush began one of their reinventions. After all, we were starting to enter the 1980s, and they decided to go a little more radio friendly. And were also inspired by bands like the Police. So, which led us to one of my personal favorite albums by them, Permanent Waves. But Jay, I'm going to let you kick this one off.
So Permanent Waves. So this starts off with an amazing song, Spirit of Radio.
Oh yeah,
I really love this song. Oh boy, I listen to this every week. This is one of those songs. Like the way this song works. If you watch their video, I don't know if it's I don't know who did the video itself. It's like an animated thing, but it's so well done. Um,
mm-hmm.
it feels like three different songs in one. The way they transition each section of the song is flows so well, and you can't get enough of it. You hear that part, and you're like, "Oh, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next?" And it's only 5 minutes long compared to some of the other songs we were doing the frog route. I don't remember Jacob's Ladder or some of the other ones. I do remember Free Will. I do like that one as well. It's a great album overall from what I remember. I would have to listen to every song again, but Spirit of Radio is almost worth it by itself, in my opinion. I love that song.
Side note: this is what Sharon was referring to earlier when she said she referred to one of their songs as "Of Salesman," because
Spirit of Radio.
Yeah, for a while she thought that if you hear a repeated phrase throughout a song, that's the title. And I had to correct her on that. It's like it's called the Spirit of Radio.
Teenage wasteland, right?
Right. Yeah.
Now,
no, they say it in that song, but it's called Spirit of Radio.
So, Mike, on a side note, didn't you used to host a radio show called The Spirit of Radio?
Yeah. Back in college, that was what I called my rinky-dink little operation when I did amateur radio for the first year and a half that I was at college. Then I realized my sophomore year I didn't have a midterm around my sophomore year that I didn't have a lot of people listening, and the work was only going to get harder from then on out. So I just decided to shelve it, but I had you listening in for a while at least, and I do appreciate your patronage. That was very nice.
I suggested songs for you to play, if I remember correctly.
You did, yeah.
Nice.
I got away with whatever I could. I even did a few songs where I had to turn the volume down to nothing whenever anything that would be objectionable by the FCC came along. I think I let a couple of those slip, but I didn't get penalized for it. That's how under notice I was, for better or worse.
Oh, hey, I did get you that censored version of Closer to Hogs.
Jesus Christ, man. God. Fucking. God damn you.
Oh, that's
Oh,
funny.
that was great.
That's
It's
funny.
Jay actually knows that one. Oh my Jesus
do you,
Christ.
Jay?
No, I just
Oh,
it's just funny. The story is funny. I
Okay,
don't know the song itself.
let me clue you in on this one. There was this group out of Australia, and they weren't anything serious. What they did was a little parody EP about a year or so after Nine Inch Nails' The Downward Spiral came out, and they did a parody of Closer. And it starts off just like the actual song with the heartbeat and all that. And then it starts getting faster. And next thing you know, they're adding like country music stuff to it. And they changed it around so the whole thing's about animals.
Okay.
It,
does more or less imply that the song is now about bestiality. So.
exactly.
The
But
act in question was called 9 Inch Richards, for the record.
yes, get it?
Oh boy.
Christ. He liked trolling me with this one. I did think it was funny, and yet at the same time, I was like, God damn it, man, why?
Apparently, Trent Reznor didn't think it was very funny.
You know, he doesn't seem like he would have appreciated it. I can't
Belcher
blame him.
Seedley. Anyway, but enough of that particular digression. Mike, your thoughts on Permanent Waves?
Yeah, it's my favorite album that they've done. That seems to be a very popular choice for those who don't want to pick moving pictures, which I'm a part of that. So, just really fucking solid from start to finish. Spirit of Radio is excellent. Free Will's excellent. Jacob's Ladder is maybe a little bit of a deeper cut by them, but I really like it. It's almost like half an instrumental, but it's a very interesting journey. It does sound like something that would play in like the clouds and the sun shining down and whatnot, and it's a good one. Like, and Entre Nous is good. That's like the closest thing to maybe a semi-disposable song on the album, but I wouldn't kick it out of my house. It's still good. Different Strings is a great one, very downtrodden and serious, but I just like the cadence of it. And Natural Science is a bomber. It's excellent. It's 9 minutes of them at their proggiest, and it's a real audio journey. I don't know how else to say it, but everyone should listen to Natural Science at least once, whether or not you're a Rush fan, I would say. Permanent Waves, just great from start to finish. Don't have really any original takes or anything to add. I just love it. That's all there is.
Yeah, Permanent Waves is consistently tied with Signals for my favorite Rush album.
It's a real photo finish, yeah.
I cannot decide. But yes, I will echo pretty much what everyone else has said. Natural Science especially is just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole album is just great. So, yes. Wheels after wheels, wheels upon wheels in a spiral array, a pattern so grand and complex. So, well, with them having firmly established themselves in the 1980s, well, you know, it's funny. We're just about to get to that. And here we are, Moving Pictures. And it is very overrated, but also very overplayed. And I know, it was like their greatest selling album of all time. You know, even some people who don't really like Rush as a whole actually like Tom Sawyer. My personal favorite song on it is Witch Hunt. But,
yeah,
you know, I think it's good. I'll listen to it. It's just, it was never going to make my top 5. So, maybe not even my top 10, just depending. But, so it's a solid album. Good stuff. But, very overrated, and you'd swear, radio DJs think that Rush wrote exactly, 5 songs, and most of those came off of Moving Pictures. What do you think, Mike?
Diane Sawyer. Good one, Logan. This is where it gets weird. When you're a Rush fan for so long, so thoroughly ingrained into everything the band's done, that you've reached the point where you realize that, yeah, moving pictures is overrated and overplayed. And I'm trying to think of anyone who's just getting into Rush for the first time and what they would think, because, you know, this was the album that got me into Rush. It was like their mainstreamiest gateway possible, but I still love a fair chunk of it, even if Tom Sawyer is overplayed, Limelight is to a lesser extent. YYZ is like their best known instrumental, and even had somehow people singing along to it during concerts, despite the fact it's an instrumental. I don't know how that happens.
I will admit, that one is my second favorite song off the album.
YYZ's excellent. And remember, it's YYZ, not Z, you non-Canuckian plebe.
I think Jay can confirm this, right?
So I go both ways. So I say YYZ, and I go to the YYZ. We're Canadian. What can I say?
No problem, man. And yeah, Red Barchetta, if there is an underrated song to be had, that one is underrated, and Witch Hunt is underrated. Witch Hunt's really fucking good. It's a creepy mood that no other Rush song really kind of belts out, aside from Cygnus X1 Book 1. But then we have The Camera Eye and Vital Signs, and they're okay. They're not my favorites. Like The Camera Eye was like the last, like, real long song they did. It's like 11 minutes, and yet, I don't know, I felt it could have been cut down a little bit. Vital Signs, I don't know. It's not bad. I don't have a lot to say about it. Moving Pictures is flawed. I'm very conflicted when talking about it because, yes, I do think it's a little bit overpraised. If anyone thinks it's the #1 Rush album, at the risk of sounding like a huge snob, I don't think that person knows a lot about Rush if Moving Pictures is their #1 album. And I'm very sorry if I've offended anyone with that take, but I don't know how else to put it. But it's still a good album. I still like a lot about it. It's just kind of weird to look back on, being that this is the first Rush album that I purchased and got into. And now that I've explored so much more and that I realize Rush is so much more, it does maybe come off as a little bit pedestrian, and I feel terrible for saying that. But it's still good. It's still really good. I just think the one they did before and after this are just so much better. But for a gateway into what Rush is capable of, you could definitely do a lot worse. And yes, we did get that excellent Futurama bit from it, so yes, there is that too.
Yes. Now, I do want to say something about Vital Signs. A former acquaintance of mine had actually made a comment once when we were talking about Rush. And specifically referring to Vital Signs. As he put it, it's like, well, Witch Hunt is great, but Vital Signs, and even Rush's most ardent fans will admit this, sucks the meat missile.
Meat missile. Did I know this person? That sounds vaguely familiar.
No, I don't believe you really knew him at all. Not when he made that comment, anyway.
Okay, well, that sounds like something I would have said, but I didn't, so...
Well, Logan, if this sounds familiar at all, all right, it's Saturday night. I have no date. A 2-liter bottle of Shasta and my All Rush mixtape. Let's rock.
Yep. One more... Go ahead.
Cue Fry playing Space Invaders while Tom Sawyer plays.
Exactly. I mean, I did also just think of a point of comparison. Moving Pictures is to Rush like Super Mario Brothers 3 is to the Super Mario series. Ooh, I like it. It's good. But whereas a lot of people rate it like #1 or 2, I rate it more like 7 or 8 or 9. That's just how it is. Signals is their Super Mario World, and I would place that one much higher.
So, how about you, Jay? Your thoughts on Moving Pictures?
what can I say? Hasn't already been said. I guess at the time it was a lot of those songs that would have been the songs that I would have ruled when I was younger, such as Tom Sawyer. Listened to it a lot. OZ was good. Limelight. I don't remember Vital Signs or which one, to be honest with you. But out of this entire album, the song I liked the most was Red Barchetta. But since we did get into more of the albums later on, such as Permanent Waves and others, this definitely went down the list compared to where it was in the top albums of Rush and whatnot. Spirit of Radio just knocks these guys out of the park, most of them anyway. In my personal opinion, no, but it is a solid album. It is. If you haven't heard Rush before, these are the worst songs to start with, but it isn't what they're defined, in my personal opinion. They should try out some of the other albums, such as Permanent Waves, and some of the other ones that we talked about already. You will definitely like them a lot more than what you hear here, but it isn't their worst album ever. But I can see the what's the word I'm looking for? Too much hype. Too much.
Yeah.
It's been outplayed too much over the years. We have better stuff out there with Rush.
Yeah, it's kind of like how I feel. Like I actually had this huge spurt of listening to all of Black Sabbath's albums after Ozzy passed on, and of those very awesome. I like the first 6 Sabbath albums that they've ever done. The first 6 of Ozzy are, for the most part, immaculate. But I would say that Paranoid probably is my least favorite of those 6 albums, just due to sheer overexposure. Because he asks some radio stations, and they think that the only songs Sabbath has ever done are just Iron Man and the title track. Maybe War Pigs if you're lucky. I've never heard even fucking Planet Caravan played in the radio, and that's just not right. And I'm not sure if I've ever heard like anything else they've ever done from any of their first successes. Like, Sabbath deserves more than this, man. And play some of the Dio albums. Play some of the fucking Martin albums, if you will. Come on, there's a lot more to explore here than just those.
Yep.
Well, yeah, it would give it a lot better exposure to all the other work. Not just Rush, but like Black Sabbath and other bands, because like if you hear it on the this is the reason I don't listen to the radio much. It's because he played the same tracks over and over again. I'm like, well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well just listen to the album itself.
Yeah, it's kind of a dead state nowadays, but since my commute up to work is short and I'm not the one driving up there, I don't have much of a choice but to... there's not really much of a point in putting in my own music, so we just listen to whatever radio is available, and it's a pretty sad state of affairs.
Yeah, I make my own mix, so...
yeah, that's for the best.
I've been doing that for years. Also, hey, Eris. Thanks for coming in.
Hey there. Hey, Harris, thank you for stopping into our Rush stream. We hope you like Rush.
So, we're moving on from moving pictures now.
Yes.
And getting to the other favorite album of mine, which, even though it's constantly tied with Permanent Waves, it has my favorite Rush song ever on it, which by default makes it my favorite song ever. And that album is Signals. The song is Subdivisions.
Oh, let's go.
Subdivisions just so great. And then they followed up with Analog Kid, and holy shit.
Yep.
That one just comes out and just, smacks you with a hammer all of a sudden. And everything else after that, even going, down through Losing It and Countdown. And Countdown, I actually didn't expect when I first heard that.
Hell of an ending.
Yeah. And it is just such a solid album from beginning to end, and I just can't choose between it and Permanent Waves. Although, fun story about New World, man. They needed one song to finish out the album, and I love the video for Subdivisions, especially at the end when the kid in the video is at the arcade playing Tempest. And right on his left is Pac-Man, and on his right is Alpine Ski. But yeah, they just need a song to, fill some space on the album. So Neil came up with New World, man, and that ended up being their only song to ever chart, basically. Rush is not one of those bands that shows up on charts and stuff. You know,
which makes them cool, according
yes.
to hipster law.
No,
They're the cool band. Let's go.
It's the fan base that keeps them going all this time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this album and Permanent Waves both get a lot of regular play from me. So, yeah. And I was so thrilled to finally be able to hear them play Subdivisions live when I saw them on the Time Machine tour. Considering, if you weren't here at the beginning of the stream, we were talking about our personal experiences. The first of 2 times I saw Rush was on the Counterparts tour, and Subdivisions was on Moratorium at the time, so they didn't play it. And yes, there was a K-Tel Records. You see these compilation albums back in the early 80s. And there was one called Hit Explosion. And there's a lot of, different songs, but one of them was New World Man. I didn't put 2 and 2 together until much later. I don't think I used to listen to Sharon's Copy a lot. But I don't think it was ever released outside of cassette and vinyl either, so. But it is definitely on there. So, all right, let me flip a coin here. Jay, your thoughts on Signals?
Oh, this album had me at the very first song, Subdivisions. It's such a good song. The video itself is really well done. I don't know. I was listening to that over and over again the last few days, just to relive the memories as a kid, listening to that song and watching the video. And so good. It's just so good. They knocked it out of the park with that. And just about every other song being did. World Man. Can't believe that was like what came out of that as a hit song. It's just amazing, these little stories that you're throwing in that give life to what we just thought, oh, that's a great song. But there's little stories and I don't know, it's a very good album. I don't know if it's one of my favorites at this point, but like Subdivisions, probably my favorite song on the album personally. I just like that little, you hear Geddy Lee singing, and then you hear Subdivisions, and it's like, okay.
What's interesting is when I saw them perform that live, Alex was the one who did the whole Subdivisions bit.
Yeah, I always assumed that was him actually saying that, but on the album it is just Geddy's voice pitched down, if I'm not mistaken.
I think in the video, Alex does it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. But it's well done. The whole album's good. Again, this is where you're really getting into the Rush that we love, and if people haven't heard any Rush, you can go with this, go with Permanent Waves, go with almost anything of this era, and you'd be blown away by their work. To this day, I can't get enough of Subdivisions. Like I said, it's my favorite song on the album, and I love Moon. A little different in style, but I love it too. Not much I can really add on other than the fact that good album. It's just very good. I haven't heard anything bad out of it, to be honest. So yeah.
All right, Mike.
I'll try to keep it lean, but can't add on too much more. We all seem to front for Signals here. If I'm not mistaken, for its time, it was actually not so beloved because it marked a huge sea change for their sound, which was to get synthier and new wavier and more new age technology and whatnot. This had begun their mid-80s stretch, which is also still somewhat debated among fans because Geddy's synths got a lot more focus, arguably at the expense of Alex's guitar work, which okay, you're not wrong, but Alex is still a very valuable part of those songs. The guitar's a little bit more understated, but I can't imagine the songs without them. Especially not the Analog Kid. He takes lead on that one.
Oh, yeah.
Heckin' sure, but yeah, I can't say much more about Subdivisions that hasn't already been said. It's excellent. It also kind of got me moody just about how, like, dry and how much suburbia sucks. Kind of hit me at a teen angst period, but it's they're not wrong. They're not wrong. It's just a really fucking solid album all throughout. New World Man for being as... I have actually heard that one on the radio a couple of times, surprisingly, and it's just a really nice upbeat track. The Weapon is an underrated one. It's a great song to walk to. I was just doing that earlier today, actually. Digital Man, rather underrated, has some reggae influences going into it, but, like, not in a bad way. It's got a really nice sort of beat and sway to it that I like. Losing It is a really fucking sad song, but I think it's earned. It's not schmaltzy. It hits in a very specifically painful way about getting old and whatnot, and it's a good one too. And Countdown, hell of a way to end the album, especially the actual countdown sounds in it. For the most part, a really solid album. I don't love the song Chemistry, which is why I say this is my number 2 favorite Rush album, below Permanent Waves. But this seems to be a little bit of a point of contention between Rob and me. It's fine. I just think the lyrics are kind of cheesy, kind of like how The Trees are, except like cheesier because it's like kind of a romance song-ish. At least that was what I got. And like I said, Rush doesn't normally do intercourse with you songs, which this isn't. This is a lot softer than In the Mood, to be sure. But it's like, this feels a little out of pocket for them, in my opinion. That's my hot take, although I don't hear a lot of other people fronting for Chemistry, so it is what it is. If I had to pick out a weakness, that it would be it. But I still like the composition of it. It's still very much in the overall mood of Signals. What I'm saying is that Signals is an amazing album. Even if there's one song that I love a little less than the others. It's just really fucking solid to start to finish. And if we're talking about weak spots in albums, there's weaker to share down the road.
Yeah.
So I don't hate Chemistry. It's just not my favorite. But other than that, fucking love Signals.
Now, fun fact about Countdown. Rush had actually been invited to one of the launches of the Space Shuttle Columbia.
Oh, holy shit, nice.
So the stuff that they got, as far as like the radio transmissions and all that, they were given by NASA. Neil was actually describing the experience they had sitting there watching the shuttle launch.
Wow. That was a...
Crazy.
Fuck, nice.
So that alone I thought was really cool because, you know, I remember that time and how big the space shuttle was and, you know, all the launches they do. You know, not like years later when they needed to have a, you know, a civilian on board. And I'm not talking about Challenger. You know, they had a competition. They were going to send one of 2 regular Joes into space to boost their TV ratings. And as one of them put it, as long as they don't send us to that horrible Planet of the Apes. Wait a minute. Statue of Liberty. That was our planet.
I was going to say, oh no, Dad, another boring space shuttle launch. That one.
Yeah, but...
Another Simpsons reference. Of course we had to go there.
Yeah. And as far as the video for Subdivision, beside the arcade part I mentioned, I remember people dressing like that and having their hair like that.
Yeah.
I knew so many of them.
Oh, yeah. Alex's hair got really impressive around this time. I mean, Getty's always been long, but Alex got up to, like, almost Flock of Seagull mullet levels at this point.
Yeah, but...
And Neil also had the rat tail, which you can see sometimes in the videos. But we were getting into the 80s here, man.
Yeah, but just look at the shots they filmed, like when they were going through the city, when they were going through the high school and all that. Yeah, saw so many teenagers dressed like that. Yeah, I remember reading about that, Brandon. So, anyway, I thought we would go ahead and kick off the next album, Grace Under Pressure, with Mike. Go on, get it all out of the way.
Well, I mean, I gotta build up to it, but let me just say, Grace Under Pressure, like Signals, not super respected for its time, but it has grown a fair spot within the fan base, and it is one of my favorite albums they've ever done. I'm not sure if it's in the top 5, but it is close, if not right in there. Uh, Logan apparently did not love it. That's okay. Like I said, this one seems to garner some more mixed results compared to their past 3 albums in general. And coming off of that.
Side note, Sharon, this is the album Kid Gloves is on.
Yes, right. Tracks. This is the 6th track of GUP, and like I can see how this one is more divisive. It's a lot more downbeat. Like it's a much darker album for them. It would be like what the years later, let's say, what Alice in Chains' self-titled album was to them. That's kind of how I see Grace Under Pressure to Rush at this time. It's filled with a lot of Cold War paranoia, i.e. Distant Early Warning, a straight-up grief song for someone they actually knew with After Image. And then Red Sector A is about the fucking Holocaust. Mm-hmm. Getty himself, of course, being of Jewish heritage, and I believe having ancestors who were in Europe at that time and survived that horrible shit.
His parents.
So, yes, that's second generation. That's fucking wow.
Side note, if you haven't heard of Getty's book, My Effin' Life, I strongly recommend reading it. It is an excellent read.
I do actually have it. I just need to fucking find time and focus aside for it. I'm terrible at reading stuff, but
well, he does go a bit into his parents' experiences.
I really gotta get around to it, and I do hope to at some point. So those first 3 songs are really striking and dramatic, and a lot like those 3 songs are on sort of like Losing It caliber of downbeat almost. Gets a little lighter. The Enemy Within is awesome. I think an underrated track. Part 1 of Fear, quote unquote, there's a little gag they had between Witch Hunt and The Weapon. That's just them being silly, more or less. Songs don't really have anything to do with each other. And then The Body Electric, which is one that I actually really like, underrated, and based off of Ray Bradbury. Kid Gloves is also a very nice one. I actually kind of think, now you know, then you learn a lesson that it's tough to be so cool. Little lyric that passes into my head every now and again for some reason. And the final track, Between the Wheels, is like my second or third favorite, like, secret best song they've ever done, quote unquote. It is an underrated, awesome fucking song, Between the Wheels. Highly recommend it if you haven't heard it.
Did you mention Red Lenses at all?
I was going to get to that.
I was curious because I know how we both feel about this one.
So, I feel very much about Grace Under Pressure how I do about Signals. It's maybe a little bit more mixed, but it is, of its 8 songs, 7 of them are bangers. Some well-known, some lesser-known. I would keep them all in my house, though. They're all great. Red Lenses is, to this album, kind of how I feel about Chemistry and Signals. Except Chemistry, still an alright song on its own, even if I don't love it. Red Lenses kind of sucks. I hate to say it, but, like, it is the first song at this point that they've done in a long time that I would say is actually bad. What would have been the last one I would have said that about before this? I'm not sure if I go back as far as I think I'm going bald, but it's like, you know, it's just like iffy in a way that, like, well, like I said about the Oriental Rift and the Passage to Bangkok, like, that's the sort of awkwardness that this song comes off, except that song was about weed tourism, as I just found out now. It had a definable central theme to it. What the fuck is Red Lenses about? Rob, can you tell me?
I think you referred to it once as it's possibly a ham-fisted commentary on the Cold War or some fucking thing.
Yeah, I mean, Red sort of implies that. They say something about
A pair of dancing
shoes.
The
The
Soviets
Soviets
had the
are
blues.
the blues.
Yeah,
Was Neil fucking high when he wrote this song? That's all I want to know.
he might have been.
This one is
Never
just
know.
not only weird in its lyrics, but the composition itself is kind of all over the place, too. I do kind of like the drum solo-y bit, like about 3 minutes in, but other than that, no, I do not love this one. It is a striking anomaly, a veritable blemish on an album I otherwise love, so I did have to point out just how not excellent Red Lenses was. It's one of the biggest duds that they've had in the 80s, in my opinion, and, well, you know, I like quoting Primus's greatest hits album to say they can't all be zingers, and this one is not a zinger, boy howdy. But the rest of Grace Under Pressure is fucking great, and you should listen to most of the rest of it. Especially Red Sector A in Between the Wheels. Actually, I really like this in Early Warning a lot too, but yes.
And thank you, Mike. Now,
Yes.
I will say that this is the second time Rush almost ended because of an album. Getty described it once as being one of the hardest albums ever made and almost caused him to break up.
Yeah.
But it didn't. And this is also right around the time where Alex was really starting to complain about, you know, him being felt like a lesser member of the band because of the emphasis on the synths.
Yeah, just a little aside. Alex in general is kind of ironically considered, well, I hesitate to call him the least of the trio, but, like, Getty and Neil are often regarded as gods of bass and drums, respectively. Alex is a god of guitars also, I would say, but somehow he gets overshadowed by Getty and Neil a lot. It's like, you know, Larry Lalonde is an excellent guitarist, but he has to play next to Les Claypool, so it's hard not to pity him a little bit. That's kind of like the same dynamic that I feel like Alex sort of worked off of. And in the mid-'80s, during their synth period, that seemed to be especially felt. Now, like I said, listening to those songs closer, Alex's guitar work is actually a lot more prominent in them than I gave credit for at a point. Like, you know, I still can't imagine the songs without him, but like I like Alex so much because he's the underrated one of the trio. That's part of why I asked to have his portrait represent me, because he deserves a lot more respect than he generally gets. The band isn't just Getty, Neil, and that funny blonde guy. So, but yeah, just a little aside. Sorry, continue.
All right, but yeah, other than that, I am a pretty big fan of the album myself. So, and yes, Red Lenses aside, it's really good. So,
flash to fashion, the pulse of passion feels red.
It hurts
like
my head.
Surf rock or whatever? I don't know.
Well,
so weird. I mean, it's memorable for all the wrong reasons, but it is what it is.
Well,
Vault.
Let's turn things over to Jay.
Yes.
All right, so I'm not going to be able to say much about this one because I don't remember it as well as you guys. I think I remember Distant Early Warning and Sector 8. That's pretty much it. I want to get involved in this album from what you guys are telling me. A very good album, except for apparently Red Lenses, but I will listen to it once just to say I have an opinion. But
no, absolutely do that. You might like it better than we do, but it's hard to deny it's fucking weird for what it is, at least.
Well, considering what you're telling, the style, at least the side one compared to side two, I guess. But the songs I do remember, like this, they're good. They're really good. I would like to dive back into this particular album. Like you said, there was a lot of Rush that I was listening to, but I didn't mix, so it's like some of them could have blended with me. I don't remember this album as well as you guys, but I'm willing to go back into it and try again with this one and just to refresh my memory. But from what I remember, it's good, and you guys seem to love it, so makes me want to listen to it again.
And now we're going to take a quick break here from going through the albums for a couple of reasons. One, it's almost 11 o'clock, and we only just made it through the first 10 albums. So we kind of need to speed this up. As much as I'd love talking about Rush, I really don't want to come back for another 2-part stream, you know?
Yeah.
So we're going to have to really keep our comments a little more concise for the next 10. But
yeah, I'm sorry.
Now, a couple other things of note. You may see down in the video description a link for a YouTuber that goes by the name of Redheaded Neighbor. She is a huge Rush fan, admittedly a recent convert, and she has devoted every Wednesday to doing Rush reactions. And, it's... as she's discovering them song by song, it's almost like reliving the first time I experienced the song. So it's always something listening to her. So I would strongly suggest, checking out her Rush playlist there and tuning in on Rush Wednesdays. So, and, I'm not sure if anyone ever heard the old joke about how at Rush concerts there were never any women there. Because women apparently just didn't like Rush. Well, that's not true. As you've seen, there are a couple here who are pretty big fans. And I can say that at both the concerts I went to, there were plenty of women. But what was funny is that the guys even made a joke about that during one of their post-concert videos, which they did with Jason Rudd and Paul Siegel, which was kind of a follow-up to that movie, I Love You, Man.
You confused their surnames, sir. It's Paul Rudd and Jason Segel.
Yeah, you know who I meant.
Just checking, sorry.
Let me put it this way.
That sounded weird.
Here, let's go ahead and I'll rephrase that. That post-concert video they did with Ant-Man and the other guy who I don't know what else he did.
He was in the recent Muppets movie.
It was? Really?
Yeah.
How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah, I think that's the guy, yeah.
Logan, get out of my stream.
Wait, actually, wait. Hang on.
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Logan. You can be as bad as Mazin sometimes. Anyway. But yeah, so... and it's interesting too, the band Nerf Herder, or I think it was Nerf Herder, not just what the heck is the lead singer's name? I can't think of it off the top of my head.
No idea.
But they actually did a song called "The Girl Who Listened to Rush."
Okay.
It's a great song. It's Perry Grip. That's the guy's name. Okay. So. All right, so let's go ahead and pick it up then with Power Windows from '85.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're back in the mid-'80s now, and Power Windows is the first Rush album I actually remember seeing, but I didn't listen to it. And because Sharon, well, first our older brother Richard had it on vinyl, and then Sharon got it from him. And it was an interesting cover with the guy sitting there using a remote control to open up a window. With all this TVs around him and stuff. But once I finally got to actually listen to the album, I found it to be, again, just another, especially Marathon. Marathon's such a great song. And the album closer itself, Mystic Rhythms. That is great. And also, I'm a big World War II history buff. So the Manhattan Project, I also liked as soon as I heard it. The whole album is great.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jay, your thoughts?
Couldn't agree more. It's a good album. I remember Big Money especially, and Mystic Rhythms. I don't remember a couple of the ones on side 2, such as Middletown Dreams or Merchant Detector, to be frank with you. I'll have to check those out again. But from what I remember, the songs they're so good. But I think Big Money's been played a lot more than the others. It's the one
Yeah.
I remember the most,
I
especially
had
whenever. But
I had a major music video at the time.
yeah,
They were playing
but
a
like when I go
Monopoly
back to
board.
it,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But that's the one I heard the most, and I think that's the one that's stuck in my head more than the others. But overall, good album. Nothing to complain again. A lot of their '80s stuff, at least in the beginning, was really good. They had some odd tracks that weren't the best, but overall good. I don't have any real complaints about this one, except for I wouldn't mind listening to a couple of the songs again just to refresh my memory.
Yeah, well,
At least on side two.
you should. As a side
Yeah,
note, I've always kind of considered Middletown Dreams to be, in a way, kind of a sequel to Subdivisions.
really? Okay.
A
Yeah,
really good way of putting a much bitterer and more downtrodden take on what was already kind of a depressing subject.
mm-hmm.
Well, even the title itself, the
It
track.
is one of the most crushingly sad songs they've ever done, and I fucking love it.
Yeah.
So then,
On a side note, I was going to say about Manhattan Project, I'm kind of into that stuff too, so I do like that as well.
it is definitely worth listening to over again.
Mhm.
Mike, your quick thoughts on Power Windows?
I'll try to be as quick as possible, but
That's why I was trying to be quick.
yeah, I gotta agree with Logan. It is one of their most, if not flatly, their absolute most underrated album they've ever done. I fucking love Power Windows, almost as much as Signals and Permanent Waves. This one's a top fiver. I mean it for sure. Like, there's not a weak spot on this album. Big Money's great, Manhattan Project's great, Marathon's great, Milltown Dreams is great. Even the ones I don't hear talked about as much, Grand Designs, Territories, and Emotion Detector, they've got a lot of value going to them as well. Like, I couldn't even tell you what my least favorite would be. There's just like I would have said Emotion Detector at some point, but none of the lyrics to this one are pretty damn poignant. It's got a lot of juice to it, and it closes on the very ethereal sounding Mystic Rhythms, which is my number one quote-unquote secret best song they've done. Like, for as much as I love Between the Wheels, I love this one even more. It's just something really special about this one.
Yeah.
Pretty neat video, too. It's like a weird one where it's like they're like at a science museum is the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
Not sure what else to say about Power Windows. It's fucking great. It's just really fucking good. If you're looking for a deeper cut to get into, with the band, I would absolutely recommend this one. Granted, it is synth heavy. It is very synth heavy, very 80s of its time, and not as strong in the Alex department. But again, I do not underrate his contributions. He's still an integral part of Rush at this time, and this album's just so great overall. That's all I can say. Just nothing but praise on this one.
So we've finally reached basically what turned out to be the end of the synth era. Hold Your Fire. And that was an album I saw Getty refer to as an arrival record for them. So they were about to experience yet another evolution. And I personally big fan of the album. Yeah, Force 10 is just an absolute banger right from go.
Hell yeah.
And the song that I've actually called my personal theme song is on there. Turn the Page.
Fucking great one, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And there's just the only song on the album which just doesn't work is Tai Shan. Tai Shan is
talks
just
about Asia. Wow, what a concept!
Neil climbed a sacred mountain in China and was so inspired that he wrote lyrics right then and there. And no, Neil, you should have just saved that for a future book or something like that. Yeah. Well, Logan, I respect your opinion on that, but you should at least give some of the album another shot. Just not Tai Shan. It's just that bad. So, Mike?
I I see opinion on Hold Your Fire being a lot more mixed compared to the past several albums they've done. Case in point, Logan, he apparently really hates the album, and I've seen this one like rank bottom 5, bottom 3 in several lists.
Huh.
I admit I don't fully understand why this one is as hated as it is. Like, you people know that Test for Echo exists, right? I just want to check that off the base. To sound like a snobbish asshole, so that I allow me that moment at least. I will admit this one is not as solid as the rest of the synth era. Like, standing next to Signals, GUP, and Power Windows, it does maybe come off as running out of steam around this time, and there are a couple of tracks in this one I don't remember how they sound. I don't remember Prime Mover all that well, or High Water, and Taishan is on record by Getty himself even admitting that the song was an error. He used the actual word error to describe it, and yeah, it's even more embarrassing than A Passage to Bangkok. At least that one was kind of a piss take. This one's trying to be all sincere and shit, and it just does not work, in my opinion.
I do want to add one thing about Time Stand Still.
Hang on, Logan, we'll get to dog ears. I have some fucking words for that one, I assure you. But go on.
Yeah, Time Stands Still. That was the song I think I'm Going Bald could have been. Yeah.
That's a good point, yeah.
And it is also one of the rare times Rush actually had a guest vocalist.
Yeah, Amy Mann from Till Tuesday.
Yep. And I've actually followed Amy's career on and off ever since then. Personally, I'm a big fan of her 93 album, whatever. But we're not really talking about Amy Mann right now. I just think it's good. So, on to Jay.
Wait.
No, Mike, you're done.
I just wanted to agree. Time Stand Still is great. Force 10 is great. Open Secrets is another, like, secret best one of theirs I really like. Second Nature isn't bad. Mission's a little cheesy, but I like that one. Lock and Key, pretty good one. Very dramatic. And yes, Turn the Page is excellent. A little more mixed in opinion on the past three, but I still like Hold Your Fire. I don't understand why it's as dogged and hated upon as it is, but apparently this one just pushes some people's hot buttons somehow. I don't quite get why, but I sort of do, but I like it more than most. I think it's the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
Now go on, Jay. Sorry.
Yes, Jay, you're up.
So this is the first Rush album I ever bought when I was young. And it was on cassette.
Yeah.
So I do have a soft spot for this particular album. To this day, I still don't get why the hate on it either. It is also the first album that I know it word for word because I've listened to it so much as a kid.
Nice.
So it is definitely in one of my probably top 10, I suppose. There are better tracks that I've listened to over the years, such as the Permanent Waves and whatnot. But it is still an amazing album in my own opinion. Almost every song is just so good. It's really good. Taishan, notwithstanding, I can understand why people don't really get into that one. Can't believe it was called an error by Getty. That I didn't know about that. I love Time Stand Still. The video is a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it's cheesy, but it's fun. By how do you pronounce his name? Zbigniew Rybczynski? I don't know if I'm saying that right, but is this great video maker who had some really crazy shit. Like, look up Stereotomy by the Alan Parsons Project. That's a really fun video also.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I like almost every song on that. So, like I said, I know word for word. I tend to sing it. I was listening to this a lot when I was playing video games. Just, I don't know why. And it was just stuck with me. So, like I said, it's a soft spot because it was the very first one I bought with my own money. And, no, every song was just a lot of fun. Time Stand Still probably stands out a lot to me. Same thing with Mission and Lock and Key. And Turn the Page is also really awesome.
Nice.
Enough said.
Yep. So we've officially exited the synth period. Now we're in They changed producers, and for the next two albums, they had what Getty referred to as a kind of more layered English sound. The first, which would be Presto, aka the one with all the rabbits on the cover.
Buns.
Bunnies.
Yeah. Now, Presto is a decent album. It's not really one of my favorites, but it's got some good stuff on there. It's also one of the original CD. They printed the title on the spine upside down,
C's.
so it looks weird. But off the top of my head, I mean, there's a couple songs that are really good on that. Are I don't remember the name, but it's I can't remember the name, but it's the one about the it's like, I wish I could remember it, but
You gotta get us more to go on,
can't.
man. Is it the pass?
It might be, actually. That's when I turn around and walk the Razor's Edge.
Yes, that's the pass. Yes.
Thank you, the pass. I also like Red Tide.
Yes. Same.
So, and the fact that they reference Blazing Saddles in Anagram for Mongo.
Those jokers.
Nice.
Yeah. So Logan's getting into his post, like, everything Rush did after this point sucks. We're getting into that stage.
It's a lot more critical than we are with the band, and I can respect that, but I tend to be... I'm much more of a game critic than I am for movies and music. For the music I like, I tend to be more exuberant, so it is what it is. That being said, Rob, did you have anything else to say about Presto?
Not particularly. It's just, I think it's solid.
Yeah. I would more or less... Yeah, I pretty much more or less agree with you. This is pointedly not one of my favorite albums they've done. In fact, I actually thought it was one of their worst at first. Like, not very much stood out to me, like, first few times that I've went over it. It grew on me more over time, but I'm not sure if it's a top 10 or... Mostly on the basis that this is the first one where, in a while, where there are more gaps than usual in what I remember. I don't remember what the title track sounded like. I don't remember what Hand Over Fist sounded like. I don't think I remember Warpaint or Scars all that well. It did feel like this one's a little bit of a transitionary period, and it kind of some of it bounced off me as a result. But what I do remember is great. Show Don't Tell's a hell of a way to open up, especially really as guitar-driven as it is. Basically, Alex saying, fuck the synth era, I'm back, bitches, kind of, sort of. Chain Lightning's a great one, underrated. I really like the chorus of that one in particular. The Pass is a real emotional tour de force, and I think that one actually got covered more than once also. It's a real good one. Superconductor's a real fun one. That one also had a video to it, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, Red Tide is great. Red Tide almost feels like a sequel to Force 10, or at least similarly themed almost, a sort of disaster-ish sort of feel to it. But yeah, this one I don't have memorized as much as some of their other albums, and thus I am tempted to say it's not one that stays with me as much, but it is also one that I think deserves another listen, because it's still really good. Just coming off of the rest of their 80s stuff for me, maybe this one's just a little bit of a come down, and it's just kind of naturally how it is.
Yeah, well,
I still like it, even if I don't love it as much as other albums. I think it's the best way to put it.
So how about you, Jay?
Honestly, I don't remember much of this particular album. Like I said, some of the later stuff I don't remember as well. I think the only one I may have Don't Tell out of the entire thing, and that's about it, to be honest. Although I do like the Anagram for Mongo just because of the whole Blazing Saddle song reference. But I would have to listen to a lot of the songs again to get and to see if I actually did listen to any of this particular album. I don't remember it very well.
Yeah.
But it sounds interesting from what you told me. So
It's definitely worth a listen. But that being the case, though, let's go ahead and just go right into the album that was my official introduction to Rush. Roll the Bones. First Rush album I ever bought, back when it was brand new. This one has stuck with me. Even despite the kind of out of place, I guess you'd call it, rap bit on the title track. But
the rap bit is fine, people. It's not worth throwing the entire fucking CD out of your car for. Come on,
yes,
have a little bit more concentration.
Yeah,
I heard someone actually did fucking do that. I'm like, Jesus Christ, are you serious?
There are so many good songs on that. I mean, Dreamline, fantastic. Bravado, great. And I'm just going to skip around here a little bit, but one of my personal favorite Rush songs has always been Neurotica.
It's just Chaotica, Neurotica. I love that one too. It's fucking excellent.
And of course, Where's My Thing? Part 4 of the Gangster of Boats trilogy.
They're just getting ridiculous at this point, but I'm for it. I love it.
And then there's a song I had played at my wedding.
Ghost of a Chance.
Yep, Ghost of a Chance.
Nice.
So, big fan of the album. It was my gateway to Rush, and I will always have a soft spot for it. So, Jay.
Good album. I think I remember Dreamline. I did like the idea of the whole part 4 thing. That just cracks me up. What caught my attention originally, though, the first time I ever noticed this album, is the actual cover.
Oh yeah,
of it. It was so different. I'm like, what? It's a kid and skull, and what's happening here? No, it's just an overall good album.
A side note about that album cover. I actually have an old T-shirt, which has the album cover as done by the artist who did a lot of Metallica stuff, but between the late 80s and early 90s, Pushead. His style was very distinctive. So, but anyway, go on.
Oh, I was just... The only thing I don't remember is the whole rapping thing, to be honest. But then again, that's like few and far between with them, right? So,
yeah.
But what I like about their stuff, especially whenever you see these kind of albums from them, is that they do try new things here and there, just to keep up with either the trends or just to be outside of the box. And this was a little bit outside of the box with some of their stuff, and especially with the cover. Just like I said, the cover alone, you gotta just check it out because there's something going on with it.
Yeah.
Overall, pretty good, and I like the fact that it's kind of similar to me buying Hold Your Fire. This was your first album. It really got you going with it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of cool. Even though Hold Your Fire is not the first song I've heard, but it was the first real album that I got into. But anyways, that's why I'm going backwards.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
All right, Mike, roll the bones.
Great album. It's one that I don't think I've listened as much to recently, and I should correct that because looking over the tracks, as with Power Windows, I don't think I have any outstanding tracks that I would criticize in this one. It's just really freaking solid. Of course, leading with Dreamline, that one's probably the most single apt out of all of them. Was it a single for its time, by the way?
Oh, yeah. I heard it on the radio.
Excellent. I wish I would fucking hear it on the radio at all. God damn it, people.
Well,
but yeah, like I said, it's just real solid down the line. Bravado's downtrodden, but really emotional, I think. Like, Goes to the Chance, excellent love song. Neurotica is just a real hell of a jam, I gotta agree. Even ones I would say are relatively the lesser tracks, Face Up, The Big Wheel, and You Bet Your Life, they're still really good, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, there are none that mortally offend me. And Where's My Thing, I would say, third best instrumental they've done, if I'd had to classify those. And I unabashedly love the title track. I just, for some reason, whenever there's something that I don't totally understand, I just like thinking, why are we here? Because we're here, roll the bones. And I like the rap bit. It's fine. It's funny. In the video, there was a skeleton that did it. So that makes it even funnier for me. I don't understand why it's... As far as rap breaks are concerned, this one was a deliberate piss take. They decided to play it as silly as possible, and I think that was for the best. Other rock bands who have attempted rap around this time attempted it with more real, quote unquote, and ergo more embarrassing results. Like, I know that Dyer and I really hate Back the Fuck Up by Fear Factory.
Yeah,
Just starring Cypress Hill.
Should have been a B-side. On a side note, that bit with the skeleton, when they performed that song live, they did it at the first concert I saw them at, the skeleton from the video actually plays in the background.
Excellent. As well he should. I know it's just Getty's voice pitched down several octaves, but I'd like to canonically think that, yes, it is that skeleton that's doing that, but... Roll the Bones, even if I don't personally love it as much as Power Windows, I would say I hold in a similar regard. I would say this one's borderline underrated. It's just really fucking good from start to finish, and also one that, if not a top fiver, it's really close up there, and I would gladly recommend to anyone looking to get into the band. So, yeah.
And now, the first album, because Rush's next album could have been like this, but suddenly there was just a breath of fresh air in rock coming out of Seattle. And Rush has admitted themselves, they were influenced by bands like Soundgarden. And it showed on the making of this album. It ended up being the first Rush album I bought day one. The first one I got to hear the world premiere of the first single. And that would be Counterparts. It was also the first time I saw them on tour. Love Counterparts. So just man, right from Animate, all the way to Everyday Glory. Just the whole album is just solid, and it's just got so much energy. And Alex really just takes center stage with the guitar on that one. And it is.
You're killing me, Logan. You're killing me. Come on.
Yeah, you're
man.
killing me now too.
Well, did he?
We'll just have to institute a policy of agree to disagree, because I have a lot of gushery to dispense in this one. But go on, Rob. Go on.
But yeah, so I remember one thing that irked me was that Pearl Jam released Versus the same day, and Counterparts would have been #1 in sales if it hadn't been for that.
Ouch.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to go against for the era, but it is what it is.
I went to the store to buy that, and I also walked out with a copy of Versus, so I contributed as well.
Okay, well, that's fair.
So I contributed to both. So, that said, it was a lot of firsts for me when it came to Rush, so let's go on to Mike. And Mike, keep it short.
This one, again, it was a much more wild style from at the time, so I could see why it's not as beloved, because the influences of grunge and 90s rock at the time that went into this were really apparent. But I fucking love this album, and it is absolutely a top fiver for me. Just really goddamn solid. Those first 3 tracks really hit like a fucking punch combo. Animate, stick it out, cut to the chase. The Nobody's Heroes, kind of like After Image, actually written about... Well, I think it was written about like more than one thing that really got to them in time, but it's a really good, sad one, I think.
Yeah.
Then, just really solid throughout. Between Sun and Moon, Alien Shore's underrated.
Oh, yeah.
Leave That Thing Alone's another great instrumental. Cold Fire is like my 3rd or 4th, secret best one. I fucking love Cold Fire so goddamn much.
It's a great song.
It's a good one. It is, on the most part, really solid from start to finish. Double Agent is kind of a weird track, and I don't love that one. but it is an interesting one, and it doesn't offend me nearly as much as Red Lenses does. It's just that if I had to pick an anomaly, that one I do not like quite as much as the rest of the album. But with the rest of the album just being as much filled with wall-to-wall bangers as it is, it's... I guess one had to fall short, but I fucking love Counterparts. But then again, this album was very much informed by the type of music that I grew up on, and so subconsciously I just think I like it for how incredibly 90s it is. Mm-hmm. But it's just fucking great in my opinion. So
how about you, Jay?
Yeah, same. Can't really say much more than that. I don't remember exactly every song off the top of my head, but I do remember really enjoying this particular album. I think I liked Nobody's Hero. It just stood out to me. But like each song was very different, and again, I can't stress this enough about Rush, is that each era of them was a different style, and this is what I like about this group. Whereas you had a lot of the groups of the day had that same style, but again, they just kept trying something new, and usually with story in their songs too. But what else can I say about this album that you guys haven't said? It's a good album. Just have fun with it. Again, it's another cover that just spoke to me because it's such out of place. I don't know even how to describe it. It's like a screw or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
A lot more understated than the past several covers.
Exactly. That's what stood out to me whenever I was trying to find more albums at that time, right? And I'm like, what is Rush going on with this time? And here we are. We're getting into this kind of style, and they're just awesome.
Yeah. So it took 3 years to get another Rush album, and this ended up being something in a number of ways, actually. That would be 96's Test for Echo. What we didn't know is that it almost was, again, the end of Rush, but this time for a very different reason. You see, in the couple of years that followed the album's release, Neil lost both his daughter and his wife. His daughter was killed in a car crash. His wife died of cancer, I think.
Yeah.
And as a result, he just had to take time off and go be by himself for a while. He basically got on his motorcycle and just rode all through Canada, the U.S., even into Mexico. And he would tell Katie and Alex, I don't know if I'm coming back, and I don't know if I'm going to want to do anything. But before that happened, though, Test for Echo came out, and after the first 3 tracks, it just kind of gets, well, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this album. I know we have a few things to say about a couple of tracks, but yeah, it's just definitely not one of their greatest. So let's just have a group discussion about this one here rather than doing all the individual stuff, unless you have something individual you want to say about it. What we have here is 2 songs in particular, one of which is called Virtuality. Very much of its time. The dawn of the internet. Yeah. And the lyrics are horrendously cheesy.
Yeah, they are.
Neil talks.
I like the melody of the song at least. And hey, see ya, Aris. Thank you so much for stopping in. Hope this was enjoyable and gets you to listen to more Rush if you haven't already.
Yep, have a good one, Aris.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, net boy, net girl. Put your message in a modem and throw it in a cyber sea. Oh, it's painful.
It's funny how it's painfully. It's ironic how a song that attempts to praise the future of technology ends up one of the most dated fucking things they've ever written.
All right, Mo. Well, you have a good one.
Hey,
cheers, Mo.
Thank you so much for stopping in, Mo. Hope you've had fun with this one. Always great to see you.
I'll talk to you again soon. You can always catch a replay to see what we have to say about the rest of their albums. So,
Yep.
but yeah. So virtuality just sounds so dated, so dated.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to Dog Years.
Actually, Dog Years, to be pedantic, was the track before Virtuality. So,
Yeah.
We're still. I've never heard JethroTull.com, so I couldn't tell you. But Dog Years. Let's take every single cliche about dogs ever written and put them to music. Why? Why would you do this, Neil? Why? Why would you do this, Neil? Before Mike launches into his tirade about this, Jay, have anything you'd like to add about either of these songs?
you know me too well.
Not really. I don't remember the album that well, but just considering what you just said about virtuality, you know, I don't know why they would go with something of a song like that. It seems weird to be, because a lot of the songs aren't really, you know, are more timeless than that.
Yeah,
It's weird.
It's just so dated.
Yeah. The only thing I remember about this album, frankly, is the cover. That's it.
Well,
That's just rocks.
I do like the song "Half the World." I was like Driven and the title track to a degree. But if you have nothing else to say, though, we can turn the floor over to Mike. But you're going to have to keep this one short, but work blue if you have to.
Dog Years is the worst fucking Rush song ever. I love you guys. I know they can't all be zingers, but it is just so painfully cheesy and dumb and inane. Inane is the leading word I would use. It is just, it's useless. Like, you guys try to usually write about actual stuff, about life and love and literature references and all that cool and nerdy shit. And then he just fucking do this one where the only swear you ever do in your life goes into the referral of dogs as bitches, and it's awful, and I hate it, and it's bad. Why did you write this, Neil Getty? Why did you agree to sing it? Alex, why didn't you say anything in the process about it? This is even more of an error than Tai Shan. Why is this a song that exists? I really hope they regretted it enough to never play it in concert, because I feel sorry for the person who could have heard, like, Mystic Rhythms or Cold Fire instead of fucking Dog Years. I do not envy whoever that is. It is terrible. It is the music equivalent of AIDS, and I fucking hate it. It's the worst.
Wow.
And the rest of the album I don't care for very much, outside of, like you said, the first 3 tracks. It starts off on its best foot. The title track's great, Driven's great, Half the World is great. Then just gets into a bunch of mediocrity I don't remember, and then we get to Dog Years, which is terrible, and Virtuality, which is embarrassing in its own way, and then a few more tracks I don't remember all that much. Test for Echo...
Sharon, first of all, Sharon, I don't know what album you're talking about, but I don't remember any dongs on any album that I liked.
Dong.
It
would
have been Half the World, Sharon.
I should also note I'm personally not much of a dog person. I know Rob is, and even he hates the song, so I don't know if that has anything to do with anything.
Dong
I just
years.
wanted to mention that. Dong years, yes. That's great. I love it. I'm going to call it that from now on.
Oh boy.
I'm more of a cat
Beautiful.
person for the record, but yes.
I'm a cat person too. I got you.
I'm considering
not
becoming
sure.
one.
That's fair. That's fair. Just because of the strength of those first 3 tracks, and they are really strong tracks, I'm a little hesitant to say that Test for Echo is their worst album, weighed against Caress of Steel, but I think I can say without any reservation that it is their most disappointing album.
Yes.
Coming off of a string of excellent ones, excellent albums, solid wall-to-wall, with Hold Your Fire apparently being kind of mixed among some, and Presto not being my personal favorite, but those are still really good, and the rest are just so solid. It was just like a great fucking streak of brilliance for them that went on for more than a decade, and then it just crashes audibly when we get to Test Recco, and it makes me sad. It really does. And considering the turmoil that Neil and thus getting Alex also went through after this, I also just think of it as just kind of a bad marker for like the band's overall state at the time. Like this one did not cause all the bad stuff that happened to them, but it kind of felt like an omen. Like things weren't great. This was a band that was kind of audibly running out of steam, and then what happened afterward made it clear that A, they had to take a break, and B, they might not come back. So with that context, it's also a little bit of a depressing album in its existence as well, I feel. So let's... I don't want to say I hate Test for Echo, but I have negative thoughts on this one, and I'm sad that I do. It is what it is.
Anyway, I spent the next 6 years wondering if we'd ever hear anything from Rush again.
Yeah.
Then in 2002, I discovered I was going to become a father. And I also got hit with my second piece of good news that year. Rush was coming back with a new album, Vapor Trails.
Yeah.
And Vapor Trails I like a lot. I do have a problem with the original version of the album because the loudness war thing, and it's just way too loud. The remix version they did fixed a lot of that.
Yeah, so. That was a weird thing that pockmarked early to mid-2000s music. I don't know why that was, but it does make the original version feel a lot crustier and darker than probably warranted.
Mm-hmm. A lot of good songs on that album, though. Vapor Trails, and it took the remix to really bring out a lot of the nuances in the songs. And it sounded more like a victorious kind of comeback, you know. It not what you might expect from Neil having gone through all that stuff. And I'm having a hard time remembering a lot of the names of the songs on there, but if I recall correctly, that was the album where they actually completed the Fear trilogy.
It was, yes, quote unquote.
With part 4 of the Fear trilogy.
Freeze, penultimate track.
Well, there was Earthshine, that was good, and that was One Little Victory was on there.
That's what it starts off with, yeah.
Yeah, I used that as a chapter title in Memoirs.
Nice. Symbolically, One Little Victory starts off with some very strong, almost like steamrolling drums, which is basically Neil saying, all right, I'm back, let's do this. And then he just kills it. Pretty nice note to start on, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was a good comeback album. A lot of good track. Oh, Ceiling Unlimited's on there too.
Yeah, it's the second track.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite song on the album. So overall, all really good. You know, a couple of them forgettable, but you know, for the most part, I can listen to that album, especially the remix version. What about you, Jay?
It would be one of those that I haven't listened to it as much. So I don't remember it as well, but it was nice to see them doing more stuff after the rock album, as I call it. But that's just because of the cover. Right. Obviously, rock is the thing. But I don't remember much of this album. It's like the last few we're going to go over. I might know a song or two, but I think I heard Little Victory. I like to touch about the whole part 4 of Fear, which is just funny. I don't remember much else of the songs. Unlimited seems familiar, but I'll have to listen to it again. And I'm glad that they made more stuff after the previous album.
Mm-hmm. And Mike?
Paper Trails is an interesting one. I will up front admit this is not one of my favorite albums they've done. It's probably one of my least favorite albums they've done. But unlike Test for Echo, that almost feels more like a necessity because at this point they're basically shaking off the rust and they're a little they're not quite back to their full strength yet, let's say. So this one I feel feels a little bit weaker as a consequence. But the songs I do remember, I do like. One Little Victory's a banger. Ceiling Unlimited's a really good one. Peaceable Kingdom, The Stars Look Down aren't bad. Ghostwriter is okay. I like the title track. That one's pretty good. And yeah, Earthshine's not bad either. I don't remember how a good chunk of the rest of the album sounded. This one's a little more obscure to me. Like, I hate to say it, but by Rush album standards, this one was kind of long. 67 minutes I'm seeing. That's a pretty substantial. Well, I guess like their last two albums were also pretty long, so maybe that's not a fair point to criticize. But I just feel like this one kind of drags a bit, and it doesn't have the most memorable tracks that they've ever done. So it's not my favorite, but it is an album I nonetheless treasure and appreciate with its context. And like I said, because of what had happened, I'm willing to forgive this one's deficiencies and at least accept that it was a real therapy session of an album for them, that they had to get out all this sort of angst, and it, of course, a little bit unfocused and misdirected because they've been out of it for 6 years and they have some thoughts with everything that went on, but I think that despite all that, this is still a pretty good album, if not one of my favorites. And as far as therapy albums go, it's obviously a huge shitload better than Shit Anger, so there's that too.
So then we get up to 2004 and their 30th anniversary. And instead of giving us a brand new album, they decided to do a couple of unique things. One, they put out their first EP. And two, it was nothing but cover songs from like the bands that influenced them. And
I didn't know they did this.
Yeah, feedback. There's really not much that can be said about this album.
It exists.
Pretty much. I like their cover of The Seeker.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones are good. I personally have never cared for the song Summertime Blues. That one did not hit with me. But it's just there.
There.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on this one?
I like their version of Heart Full of Soul more than the original, and I agree that Getty did Roger Daltrey justice with The Seeker. Other than that, it is what it is. I appreciate it exists, but I agree. I really can't say much about it. At least they didn't cover a Beatles song.
Thank God.
So there's that.
There's that. Yeah. To be fair, that could have been an interesting thing to see, but
well,
I don't know if it would have been good.
No, just
Ozzy cover album? Oh shit! Which one was that? I gotta look this.
While you're waiting on that, let's move on to their actual next album, which was the one I would have expected to hear from them after coming back from that 6-year hiatus, Snakes and Arrows. And again, the first few songs really hit with me. Far Cry. I still quote part of that song to this day. Am I really losing it that I can't think of these song titles now? Hang on, I'll tell you for sure.
What the fuck? Ozzy covered 21st Century Schizoid, man.
Really?
That's news to me.
What?
Yeah, no, this album that Logan mentioned is apparently called Undercover. It was released in 2005, and these are definitely not songs I would ever have expected to hear Ozzy Osbourne singing. Very interesting. Rest in peace, sir. But
yeah, I don't know what to say to that.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right. Basically, this is how it goes for me. Far Cry, great song. Armor and Sword, love it. Working Them Angels, probably one of my favorite later era Rush songs. And after that, it just kind of drifts off.
This sounds familiar.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. There's a lot of instrumentals on this one. 3. And it really gets kind of depressing as it goes on. So, yeah, not really what I would call a fantastic album, though it was decent. I'll say that much at least.
More than what I could say.
Do you have anything you can really say about this one?
No, like, I think the last 3 albums I may have heard a song or two, but beyond that, I don't have any real feedback on this one. I didn't even know much of this one. I don't remember this one very well.
Yeah, it just after those first 3 songs, it just gets depressing. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, this is one I also have mixed thoughts on. It might be their saddest album ever, even more so than Grace Under Pressure, which is kind of amazing that they managed to break that. And it's kind of a lie of an album, too, because Far Cry was the big single from this one. That one actually did get some radio play when it was new. I just remembered that. And it's a banger. It's a solid shredder. It feels like something you would have heard on Counterparts. It's really energetic. It grabs you by the cojones and doesn't let go. And the rest of the album is so not like that. It kind of feels like a little bit, I don't want to say a ripoff, but it does feel deceptive, to say the least. I don't know if that was on purpose, but it feels a little less honest than what I'm used to with Rush, so I kind of have conflicting thoughts of Far Cry's energy compared to the rest of the album. But I will agree with you, not unlike Test for Echo, Armor and Sword is excellent, Working Them Angels is excellent. Unlike Test for Echo, I have better things to say about some other tracks. I think Faithless and Bravest Face are good ones, as I remember. I recall seeming to like Spindrift, although my memory's a little iffy on the melody, and yeah, considering how I can be more critical of instrumentals than others are, having fucking 3 on the album, I don't understand what was up with that.
Yeah,
exactly. Malignant Narcissism is good. I could have done without the other 2.
Honestly, I think I need to give the album a re-listen.
That's the thing. I think I do too, because this one can be a little bit of a tough listen. It is... How long was it? Come on, where's the fucking... Okay, 62:50, so a little bit shorter than Vapor Trails, but still pretty lengthy. I think it has a little bit more value than Vapor Trails. It's certainly more refined, I think, but it's also just really downcast. And with its overall general tone, it can be a little bit hard to pick some songs out from others. But I like it more than Vapor Trails. It's not one of my favorite albums that they've done like Vapor Trails, but I think it has more value overall, and it is a very interesting one. Plus, it was the one they were promoting while they were touring, so I'm tempted to give it a little bit more leniency as a result. But it's curious. Not the first album to listen to if you are getting into Rush, because it is so unlike the rest of their work. Holy shit.
Definitely not.
But yeah.
So, that said, it would be another 5 years before we got what turned out to be Rush's final album. But what a hell of an album that is. Clockwork Angels. This was their only true concept album. I mean, even got a novelization, a couple of comic book adaptations, and sequels and stuff. But yeah, in fact, I met Kevin J. Anderson, who collaborated with Neil on the novel. So, got to meet him at a con. He signed my copy of the novel. It's pretty cool. And this one, I've got there's a lot here. It also came out the year after I got divorced. So, I got some fond memories in that regard. But let's see. It starts off with Caravan, which, even though I didn't get to see them on that tour, they did preview that at the Time Machine tour when I saw them for the final time. BU2B, that's a decent song. I love Clockwork Angel, the title track. It's just something about that song always gets me. The Anarchist was good. Carney's is good. Halo Effect is another one I love. It's a sad one. But not overly hot about Seven Cities of Gold. It's good, but it just never really grabbed me. The Wreckers is good. Headlong Flight was good. BU2B2 is the only one I could say that didn't need to be on there. It is literally a minute and a half of filler. Don't know why they did it. Wish Them Well was good, and The Garden is probably my second favorite song off the album. It is just, I remember listening to that the first time, and when the album was over and The Garden had ended, I just remember sitting there and thinking, I don't think they could ever top this. And
very interesting thought, context considered.
They never did.
Well, what a way to end it.
Yeah,
way to say.
It is. Yeah. The song's a perfect capper to their entire career.
It is.
So, yeah, it was such a breath of fresh air after Snakes and Arrows being so down.
It's like, I think Clockwork Angels is also kind of a sad album, but in a much different way.
Yeah.
And that's also sort of context, but I don't want to go before Jay on this one, unless Jay has anything you'd like to say about it.
I don't have a whole lot to say to this one. I haven't heard all the songs on here, but
Okay.
It's definitely at least better sounding than the last route. It's unfortunate that this ended up being their swan song in that right, just because of context and whatnot. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say to this. I do like some of their tie-in ideas, like you were saying about the whole novelization, whatnot. And it's interesting that their last one became their concept album.
Yeah.
Only then had they did that. Now they're finally a true prog band, and they quit.
You know what? That's the way to do it.
Exactly.
It is absolutely smart move. Yeah.
Hit them with what they least expect.
That'll be my 2 cents on this particular one.
Also, Logan. What Logan just said, everyone has to go out sometime. This is probably the best note you could have possibly gone out on. I remember reading an interview with Getty once where he said they didn't want to end it because there was 1,000 people out there screaming, "Go away." He said they wanted to get to a point where they just all kind of look at each other and it's like, it's been fun. See ya.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
that's basically what happened. Mike, anything to say about Clockwork Angels?
I don't think I can add too much more than what you said. I just have to completely agree. Yeah, it's a hell of a goddamn album to go out on. Especially, well, I really wish BU2B2 wasn't there. It's total filler. So,
yeah,
if I were to put it on an iTunes playlist, quote unquote, I would completely remove that, and then I can say that Headlong Flight, Wish Them Well, and The Garden, really fucking awesome trio of songs to end their goddamn career on. That alone, if it was just those 3 albums, it was like an EP, I'd really fucking love it. And The Garden is just like really soulful and downtrodden, and for it. It's like, well, I'll dwell on that a little bit more in a bit, but there's a lot of other great stuff throughout the album. I think my memory's also a bit rusty on this one. I would love to give it another listen full. But Caravan's a great start. BU2B is maybe not the most exciting one musically, but lyrically it's pretty interesting. And the title track is a great one. Lots of great stuff all around. Funny enough, I actually really like Seven Cities of Gold. For that one, for some reason, that one just stays in my head. and just a weird divergence of opinion we have in that
Yeah,
case.
it
But
happens.
it is what it is. But yeah, just the garden alone, it just feels special because it kind of feels like even then. Like I'm not sure if I was thinking about it, but like subconsciously, I think in the back of my mind, I was I was wondering, you know what? There's a little bit of a finality to this.
Yeah.
This might actually be it. And as it turned out, yes, it was, and it feels very bittersweet in retrospect, but I gotta say, the fact that Rush just went out on their own terms because they thought they couldn't top themselves and they were just okay with quietly retiring, as humble as they've always been, is a move I infinitely respect, and we've gotten so much great music from them throughout 4 decades that I couldn't really complain about the decision, and I think it's better to end on that note rather than just keep on going and going into your 80s like the Rolling Stones. I mean,
Yeah.
if that works for them, that's okay, but no,
Also,
I just think it was a really humble and honest note that Rush went out on, and the
Mhm.
Garden and Clockwork Angels as a whole informing that just makes it a really special album,
Yeah.
and one that I could really do to listen to again. So
Also, Logan, I remember that album. That was the one where Rush changed their name. Every member of the band called themselves Dream Theater, and yeah,
yeah,
that was a great album.
somehow the trio became Five Guys. I don't know how they did that. It was like wizard shit or whatever.
Yeah,
Well, they were talking about wizards in some of the
At some
albums,
point.
right?
They're talking about the Necromancer, yeah, but we don't
Yeah.
love that one. So, I am actually quite a big Dream Theater fan. I don't think we're going to have a live cast on them, but
No,
Images
probably
and
not.
Words is a great album. So
Yes, one of my favorites.
I'll give you that. Yes.
So,
Jesus.
Ah.
British asexual like sponges.
Ah.
Oh, so anyway, of course, you know they played their final show in 2015 in what was an extremely rare to the point where it never really happened before. Neil actually came out from behind his drum kit to take his bows, so to speak.
Yeah, Neil as the most reserved of the trio, whenever the show would end, and I do recall this at the one I went, he was always the first off the stage. Like,
Yep.
show's over, I'm bolting right from my motorcycle, I'm out. And I do respect that privacy, but yeah, no, this was different. This was something.
Yeah.
It was a sign.
Even Getty and Alex were like, that was what just happened there.
Yeah.
And then just 5 years later, in early 2020, Neil died. It was, I forget what the exact term was, but it was like something, it was in his head, I know that much.
I thought it was cancer related. I don't remember. Shit.
I could find out real quick. Hang on.
Sharon, for the record, Rush didn't end their career because Neil died. They just ended it because they thought it was just a good time to go out. Although I do wonder in retrospect if Getty and Alex actually learned something that wasn't like widespread knowledge or whatever, that Neil's health was actually starting to go into decline. But that's apocryphal. I have no idea if they had any idea.
No, actually it was. According to this, he wanted to spend, what time he had left with his wife and daughter.
Yeah.
And he also had chronic tendonitis and shoulder problems.
Yeah, not unlike Phil Collins, I think.
And it turns out what he actually died from was glioblastoma, which is an aggressive form of brain cancer.
Oh, Jesus, it's awful.
Yeah. I remember when I heard the news, I actually was just about to go into the grocery store. I had to stop and just sit there for just a second going, what? So
I am reading that, yes, Alex actually did confirm that part of why Rush disbanded was because Neil was having some health issues. So that was apparently actually related after all.
Yeah.
Um,
And
damn.
that's not to say, though, that ever since that Getty and Alex haven't been busy. Now, of course, the two of them had experimented with side projects and stuff. Alex did the Victor album in '95, and Getty did his My Favorite Headache album in 2001, both of which were really good. Getty took up writing and also made a lot of appearances on television.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned earlier in the stream, My Effin' Life, great book. He also did Geddy Lee's Big Book of Bass. I think he did one about baseballs, too. Because, Geddy Lee's a huge baseball fanatic.
You know what? I don't think I actually knew that. He's
Really?
a Blue Jays fan?
I believe so.
No,
I think
son of a bitch.
I think he actually even was invited to sing the national anthem at one of the games.
Okay, that's pretty fucking awesome.
The Canadian national anthem, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The superior.
But Alex has kept going with music. He's currently the guitarist in a band called Envy of None. They released 2 albums so far. They don't sound anything like Rush. But in a way, that's perfectly fine because there's only one Rush.
Yeah.
That's right.
And their lead singer, she's really good. So, but now a couple of other little things I want to bring up here. And yes, Logan, you should listen to My Favorite Headache. I forget who Getty collaborated with on that one. I want to say it might have been Ben Mink. I'm pretty sure they've said if they do something like that, actually getting a different drummer in there, it would be for like the occasional one-off appearance or something like that, like maybe for a charity event or something.
Yeah, they do not seem like the type who would bullshit about retiring and then just be back 2 years later with another retirement tour. No, they're not like Kiss.
No.
They have some damn integrity. If they were to ever do like a reunion or whatever, it would just be a one-time revisit to the fall, not a full-blown revival. At least that's the impression that I get. I mean, even if they change their mind and do something like that, I certainly wouldn't say no, but they're both in their 70s, and they just seem like so invested in other things at this point that, they will always be thankful for the legacy that they've created, but at the same time, they're not going to feel totally bound to that. They're their own people, and they should do whatever the hell they want their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Way I feel.
But something I wanted to bring up about the 2 times I saw them live would be what I called the Fairweather Rush fans. These were people, and you'd know who they are just by watching. I'd see them. They'd be up there. Anytime Rush would play something from their 70s or early 80s stuff, they were right down there cheering, jumping up and down. All this. The minute they started playing something from a newer album, they're out the door. They start playing something in from an earlier album, all of a sudden, they come flying back in. And it's like, come on, people. Slayer's coming back.
If they play Dog Years, then okay, I can understand. But otherwise, come on, give them a chance. Give them a fucking shot already.
I had no idea Slayer was coming back again.
I didn't. Nah, yeah.
I kind of gave up on Slayer after Seasons in the Abyss, though, so.
They really couldn't top that one, no.
Nope.
In my opinion.
South of Heaven came closest, and that was before Seasons.
Rain, Blood, South of Heaven, Season of the Abyss. That's really all the Slayer I need or want. Maybe Hell Awaits on a good day, but other than that, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of them. Whatever.
The one time I got to see Slayer live, I remember the people I was with, was my ex-fiance and my friend Bromley, and neither of them were Slayer fans. And I was like, well, we're not leaving until I hear him play Seasons in the Abyss. Ended up being the song they closed with. Yes,
You made out like a bandit on that deal.
I'll say. I do want to bring up something though. Earlier this year, Rush released their slightly delayed R50 Deluxe box set thing. Now, I got the standard edition of that because it has their only two recorded songs that had never gotten properly remastered and re-released were only available on a 45 until now. And that would be from their 1973 single where they covered Buddy Holly's Not Fade Away. Along with an original song called You Can't Fight It. So I wanted to have those actually available in good quality to me. So
I don't think I've ever heard You Can't Fight It. I'm not a true fan now. Until I have.
I could swear I'd sent you the link to that before.
You probably
It's
did.
been all over YouTube for years.
I just have the memory of a potato. It is what it is.
Yeah, well. But the rest of the set is... Or the rest of the set's kind of a mix of some studio stuff and a lot of live stuff. And I know we didn't cover their live albums at all, but we took a consensus before we started the stream, and none of us are really into live stuff as far as like recordings. How many years were they around, huh? Well, I would say, yeah, they first came out in 68. If you want to start at the date of their first officially released album and go from there, which it seems the band does, they'd have been around for about 41 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, there you have it. One thing that R50 does come with is a really nice book. So that's cool. You have that plus the CDs.
Yeah, it's a nice looking box set. I was just looking at it there. I would love to get my hands on.
Yeah, the super deluxe one, the vinyl, all cost like $300. And I was like, no.
Well, that's a bit much. The one I'm looking at though is like 150 Canadian, but.
Is that the one that's got 4 CDs in the book?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I got, and not sure what that translates into in U.S. dollars at the moment, but I know I didn't pay that much.
I had to guess it. 120, maybe even less. But I'm sure you paid less at the time.
Yeah, I pre-ordered it, so that helped too.
Oh,
I think.
gotcha.
Well, anyway.
Now, if I went with the record, it would be almost $300. Jeez Louise, but that would be awesome, though.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What's up? Logan, try looking up the official releases of those two songs. They did put them both on YouTube. They might be on the official Rush channel. Anyway, just to go ahead and wrap things up around here, because we're basically done. Let's see.
That's the spirit.
Oh, jeez.
Well, we are going to continue to do these weekly streams at this point until we start running out of... we just had so many ideas recently for streams that we're just going to keep going until we start having fewer ideas, and we'll go back to every other week. Mm-hmm. But we already have next week's planned. That is going to be our Mega Man Roundtable.
Yes.
Yep, that's
be a lot of fun.
Of course, Mike will be there. Also, Kate will be returning, and we're going to have a new guest on. Logan, I think that would be extremely interesting. Question is, what would we talk about? You don't have to think of it now, but we can discuss it. Mike, you cool with the idea?
Yeah. If we think of something that Logan really wants to talk about that aligns with our own field of taste, then I'd be up for it.
Yeah, So that being the case, I'll bring in a chat with me and Mike.
All right, sounds good.
So we got the Mega Man stream, and there's some other ones after that we have planned. We're going to be doing a stream after that about toys. Well, we won't be doing those streams. Sorry, Logan.
Bubsy had another collection about to be released.
Yeah, Sharon already pre-ordered it. So we've got
possibly go wrong.
Yep, Snarbly on that. Snarbly on the toy stream. Prime's gonna be back on it. I forget, Jay, were you gonna be on that one too?
The Twice one?
Yeah.
Well, if you have them.
Oh yeah, I mean we'll just do it up like the cartoon, like the '80s cartoon stream.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. So it'll be an '80s cartoon stream reunion.
Pretty much. It'll be the first reunion we did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the closest we got to that before was the retro RPG reunion.
That's true. I think that was with the anime we did.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was pretty close anyway.
Yeah.
Taking a picture of it with the Journey 2600 game. There. That's the best thing. Oh, but so we've been tossing around some ideas for September, but we're definitely going to open up October with Evil Dead. We've been talking about that one for a while.
Can't wait for that.
Oh, yeah. Mike and I need to find a way to watch Evil Dead Rise before then, though.
Right, that's a good point. I still have to get on that.
And I got to finish up Ash vs. Evil Dead, which I can do anytime.
Actually,
I just haven't.
You guys are up for it. I do own the film. I always do a watch thing for Evil Dead Rise. Oh, I have all Evil Dead movies, TV series. I love this. Love it.
Nice.
That's why I wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm. Good deal.
All right. So, but yeah, just keep an eye on the space, and you'll see what we're doing next. And because I have to, as always, my books are still on sale. Link below. Thank you, Jay. And as you may or may not know, both Jay and Mike contributed stories to Digital Archaeology.
We did.
Mm-hmm.
Best part about it.
I think the best part about it is that I wrote memoirs and Eating Candy in Outer Space, and I came up with the idea for Digital Archaeology, and in fact, I don't know. Screw the whole thing.
Thank you, Bender.
Rude. Anyway.
All right, so we're just going to go ahead and call it a night then.
Yeah, thank you all so much for stopping into this. I'm glad we have as many fans as we did in the chat to discuss the music. And
yeah, and that a good chunk of you actually stuck around for our basically dissecting every studio album in Rush's catalog.
Yeah, and yeah, we could do that, Logan. That idea is not off the table, I think. Maybe.
Oh, it's off the table, Mike. It is so off the table.
Oh well, I tried.
Yeah, you tried. You failed. You're getting that. You're getting that Shinobi sign as soon as I dig it up. All right. So join us next week for the Mega Man Roundtable.
Yes.
Hope to see you all there.
Yep, and I'm probably going to make it longer than we should be just by my enthusiasm alone, but we'll try and we'll see how much you can contain Mike this time.
Also, the only time I'll accept that as an answer, Logan, is when we're talking about any reference to Dr. Johnny Fever.
Yes.
Oh, one other thing, fellow babies. Booger! Well, hopefully Snarbles will inspire you to listen to some more Rush.
Absolutely.
A lot of Rush to go around.
Oh, yeah.
I will be glad to go over all the albums again with you, sir. As you can see, I got a lot to say about him. So
Mm-hmm. And you just scratch the surface of his opinions here.
yes, you did.
Yeah.
And mine.
Had to streamline it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, everyone. You all have a good night. And we'll catch you next week, hopefully. So,
Take
Cheers,
care.
have a fun.
Enjoy.